All right, everybody. UFC 274 is in the books, and it ended in the way that just shuffles everything up. Charles Oliveira withstands 2 hard knockdowns from Justin Gaethje, comes back, hurts Gaethje, gets on him, almost gets an armbar, transitions into taking the back, and then chokes out Justin Gaethje. And normally we'd be saying to retain the lightweight championship in the world, but that is not the case in this situation. Charles Oliveira is the
number one contender.
Number one contender.
Number one contender. Congratulations, Charles Oliveira. Number one contender.
It's amazing. Charles Oliveira was in the arena as champion probably longer than the whole fight lasted. And now he's not the champion. And now he's the number one contender. And he called out Conor McGregor, which...
He did? I didn't even watch that.
Yeah, he just said, I don't care who it is, but Conor McGregor, you're coming back. If you want it, come get it. Like, that's I mean, fine. I mean, that's probably the best call out he could have.
Wait.
Let me see. I
you
think
know what
our
that
man
means?
Guillermo...
There's a chance Charles might not fight for the belt next time. It could be like Chandler Makhachev. And then...
No, he's fighting for the belt.
Oh, because they're going to give Conor the belt. Yeah, I know. Because this isn't a real sport.
He probably runs over. So the way it was translated apparently was incorrect. Our own Guillermo Cruz came through here and said, there's something wrong here. The champion's name is Charles Oliveira. I made weight Thursday, and you took my belt away.
Made weight
Thursday. Dana White. Sorry. Which was not, that part was not translated at all, by the way. And then, hey, Dana White, I don't care who and where. You said I could choose, right? Conor McGregor, are you coming or are you running? That was the English translation of what Charles Oliveira actually said.
Oh my God! I made weight Thursday. Congratulations! Congratulations, number one contender.
Great performance. I mean, listen, the whole weight debacle is one thing, but everything that man went through, losing the title, losing a bunch of money
on him,
was still the champion. I know.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. But here's what I'm saying. Him walking down to the octagon as champion. Bruce Buffer introduces him with a rigor, with vigorousness. And then the belt's gone. And then he still has to go fight Justin Gaethje with all this hanging over him. And then he wins the fight in the first round. I mean, that's amazing. And here's Rose Namajunas. Here she is. A lot to talk about with this fight.
Rosen obviously is probably still processing everything right now. So relatively, I guess, what are the feelings like right now?
I won that fight. I stuck to the strategy. I felt like as if I landed more shots. I even took her down. None of her takedowns were significant or any control time. I mean, she hit me with, I'd say, one good punch. And then maybe another time, like her forearm clashed into my nose at some point as we're like both standing up. But other than that, maybe a couple low kicks, but I didn't feel them or anything. So I felt like I did the damage. I controlled the fight, and that's, I'm proud of myself because I stuck to my strategy. That's because I know that in all of Carla's fights, she just baits people in and she tries to get people to attack her. So it's like, no, I've been in slugfest before. I've gotten my nose broken. I've stood there and shed blood in the octagon. So it's like, I stuck to the strategy. And she didn't really have any offense. She was whiffing that air the whole time. So I thought I won. I'm really still trying to process this because I'm not trying to be salty or anything. I feel like there's something to be learned from each loss. I feel like I could have maybe there was moments where I wanted to capitalize a little bit more and be a little more offensive in moments, but then every time I would step, my foot would slip. So I had to be a little more safe. So that's the decision I made in that moment. But like I said, I'm an exciting fighter. I'm a finisher. I have one of the highest finishing rates. So I don't think that I was getting the boos. I'm pretty sure that was Carla. As far as, I don't know. I obviously I want to have exciting fights, so that does kind of sting a little bit too. So I don't know.
I didn't say you're proud of yourself for sticking to the game plan, but because it
Yeah.
was kind of like, relative lack of, was there any part along the way, round 3, round 4, where you're like, maybe we got to get out of this game plan because we're not necessarily, we don't know that we're scoring points. There just wasn't a lot to
No,
score.
I knew I was scoring. I knew I was touching her. I mean, there was some times I was missing, but it was because, I just, I don't know. I felt like I was scoring, and so there was like I said, there was moments where I was like, okay, here's my opportunity to, to counter attack a little bit more, but then my foot would slip on the canvas, slippery octagon, and one little mistake against Carla, and she's just gonna try to take you down the whole time. So, yeah, but I don't know. I thought I won that fight. I don't know.
Last thing for me, I guess you're still going to want to process everything, but I just wonder, so what do you think you do now? Do you campaign to have this fight again? Do you maybe look at other matchups that make sense? Do you take some time off? What do you think the play is?
I mean, I would do a rematch. I feel like, I felt like I was stronger everywhere. So, I don't know. Not sure, but, I would take the rematch.
Rose, if you did take the rematch, would you employ the same game plan, or would you try and mix it up just to be sure that you'd come out with a victory?
I don't know. I would probably think about it, talk with my team a little bit. And that's the thing too, is like you stick with the game plan, but you also gotta realize when you're in there, sometimes you make on the spot decisions. So, I wouldn't say for sure, I can't predict the future.
Hey, Rose over here.
Yeah.
Did Trevor tell you anything that strayed away from the game plan headed into that 5th and final round?
Did he tell me anything?
Did he give you any advice that maybe wasn't on par with the game plan that was headed in? Did he tell you anything different?
The only thing he was telling me was, okay, now we can start, having some more fun and letting loose your 4 rounds up, and you can go out there and have some fun.
And did you feel like that right hook that you landed was the biggest shot landed in the fight?
I felt like I hit her a few different times, especially overhand right. I remember landed super clean. I don't know. I have to go back and watch it, but I do remember, landing a nice uppercuts and, even some of the punches that weren't like super solid, but were just keeping her at bay, just like making contact. I felt like I was not just making the damage, but also controlling the fight. So I don't know. But yeah, I still gotta ruminate over this a little bit because, like I said, I hate sounding like this. I hate sounding salty. Like I lost, you know what I mean? Like fuck. But at the same time, like it's just what makes sense to me right now.
And of course, you're still processing everything. But
Mhm.
immediate reaction: how different are your emotions and your thoughts right now compared to how they were in 2014 when you were defeated by Carla?
Yeah, I didn't feel like she defeated me this time. I genuinely feel like, yeah, she was better than me that night, the first time we fought. This time, I don't know, like I still feel like I'm the best. I mean, I took her down. Like where's her wrestling at, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, she did take my back, like for a split second. She did. I want to say she got 3 takedowns, but like I said, boom. Like, is that really a takedown if I'm just touching my butt for like 1 second? I don't know. You know what I mean? I had a good like wizard whip. Like,
lastly-
I don't know.
Lastly, Joe Rogan in DC, and somewhere in the middle of the fight, they were talking about how you went right at Joanna Jędrzejczyk and how she's an amazing striker, and you were very respectful of Esparza's wrestling. So when you were a little bit, feeling her out, was that just completely out of respect for her wrestling? Were you lowering your stance, waiting for her to, make a shot?
Yeah, that's all she's trying to do is take you down, So it's like, why, if that's her game plan, why play into her game plan? I mean, she's literally all she does is just wait for people to rush at her. I mean, you saw what she did to Jan. Jan just ran right at her. Why would you run right at her? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Maybe there was a little bit more opportunity for me to be a little more aggressive in moments, but like I said, fuck, my foot kept slipping on the canvas. So, I still, I like hearing myself talk right now. But yeah, so I don't know. I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, and like with these other strikers and stuff, I mean, even I think Whaley had more success with her takedowns against me because she mixed it up, a little more, and I also didn't really respect her wrestling like that. Whereas, yeah, Carla, I really respect what she does in there, but at the same time, only so much, to the point where it's like I don't see how you become the champion like that. But I don't know, like I said, I hate sounding salty.
Thank you.
Hi, Rose, over here. What words of encouragement would you give to your teammate Justin Gaethje after his loss?
Yeah, I kind of saw the end of that fight, and I don't know. I would just say all this kind of just seems like part of God's plan too. So, like I said, I know that there's something to be learned from this. So I'm not like totally upset, and I know with Gaethje, definitely that's very like heartbreaking, especially with yeah, just with how the weight cut and all that's like whatever was happening with all that stuff. I had a really fun week, but at the same time, it's like, man, like, yeah, what can I take away from this? It's definitely gonna probably take me a second, but because yeah, it's very frustrating, but at the same time, there's got to be some takeaway, some learning lesson. So some way I could get better from this, and I'm sure Gaethje. I don't know. At this point, I'm just trying to process my own shit right now, you know. But I love him.
Rose, here in the back.
Yeah.
I know you feel you won and the rounds were close and stuff, but can you fathom anyway Carla got 4 rounds from one judge? I think that was
Yeah.
surprising to some,
That's
including Matt.
surprising. I thought, okay, maybe like I don't know what you could count. Like the low kicks, the low kicks weren't even hurting me. Like they really didn't do anything. The takedown maybe, but I mean, maybe was I don't know, maybe just like all of her attempts, but I stuffed all of those. Like, I mean, I don't know how many times she attempted to try to grab me, but really it was really I don't know. I don't get no credit for good defense. Like, like I think maybe just the judges wanted to see like a slugfest, like it was, maybe previous fights or something, and so they weren't appreciative of, good strategy and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm always in exciting fights. Like I can't have like a strategic fight. Like I gotta fuck up this face, Like, no, fuck that.
Rose, as the fight's going on, was there any surprise on your part of the lack of adjustments from Carla, that she was just going with the same game plan round after round?
Yeah, that's what she does good. She's consistent. And that's what I look to add to my game plan. I thought that was going to help me be a better champion to round off my skills, But, she does what she does. And like I said, I have respect for what she brings, to the table. But at the same time, like, that's not the type of champion like that that I think is I don't know. I think it's good to be able to do that, but like that's literally all you do, But I don't know. I guess it takes some mental fortitude and to be able to do that and not really care about, any of that stuff. Cool. Thank you guys.
All right, there she is, Rose Namajunas, who didn't want to be salty, but I think we can all agree she was a little salty up there.
Oh yeah,
a little sprinkle.
I don't want to be at these events. I like doing what I'm doing at home, but man, I just wanted someone to ask her, Rose, if after that 3rd round they tell you you're down 3 rounds, you have to finish that fight now. Does it change anything? I wonder. I don't want to get into the whole open scoring thing, but I just really wonder, because from everything I'm reading online, Barry and Trevor Whitman were both telling Rose that she had this kind of fight in the bag. When it came to the 5th round.
It was
Which
just
obviously
such
was a very tactical error, giant error on Whitman's part,
or Pat Barry's part.
Well,
too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just such a weird fight. Like you can't be mad at how it played out. It was just one of those things where it's just. I actually said, this sucks to be a judge. And then someone responded to my tweet and was like, actually, it's pretty easy because you can't be wrong. Like, you really can't be wrong here. Like, no matter who won, like, no one was going to be mad about it. Like, you couldn't really argue with it. So, I mean, it is what it is. That's the fight. Rose thought she won. I actually thought Rose won as well. But again, I will admit, Canelo was fighting, so I was doing a little double screen action. But at least from what I saw, I kind of agree with where Rose is coming from in some ways. I thought some of the things she did in those rounds sort of took away any moment Carla had. But again, it depends on who's sitting there. Some judges favor wrestling, some judges favor striking, some favor the new rules, some favor the old rules.
It depends.
It is what it is.
And also very much depends where you're sitting in the cage. Remember, we're seeing one angle. The judges are seeing a completely different angle. So shots that we think are blocked, or maybe they are blocked, another judge might think that lands. Or, it's the angle of the judges is so important, and we just don't know what the angle is, what they're seeing. But I'm looking at MMA decisions, and it's fair to say Namajunas won. Looks like about 60-40 split between people having Esparza winning.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it
get it.
It was 6-part. I did have it 3. It sounds weird saying I had it 3-1, with the first round being a 10-10 for 10-10, and then Carla taking 2-3, 2-3-4, and then Rose taking 5. That was my.
I scored 1 for Rose just because literally nothing happened. Literally nothing happened in that round. So, and I knew they weren't going to give a 10-10. So if I'm on a fence, I'm just going to choose one side. I think Rose slightly did enough. I gave Carla 2. I think that was a clear round for her. 3, I don't really remember. I think I gave it to Rose. 4 was really close. That was a round I didn't completely pay attention to. I probably watched the last 2 minutes of it, coherently without watching Canelo. And I saw the takedown, and Carla jumped on her back, and Rose scrambled right out, and she landed that right hand that was just asked to Rose about, because that was the question was that the most impactful strike of the fight? I thought that was the most significant moment of the round. But again, I didn't watch very closely probably the first half of that round, so I might have missed something. And then I thought Rose won the 5th. So
Rose definitely won the
48,
5th.
Yeah, 48-47 Rose for me. But again, I ain't arguing anybody. No one's wrong here. No one's wrong. If you want to give the first round a 10-10, you're not wrong. You're not at all.
If you want to give it to Rose, if you want to give it to Carla, that first round could go 3 different ways, honestly.
Nobody's wrong. Nobody's wrong. So we heard from Rose. I'm sure we'll hear from Carla, who, by the way, this couldn't have worked out better for her. Although, she'll take the booze all day. She's the champion, and she's getting married without, really a blemish on her face.
Yeah, that's amazing. She just fought 25 minutes in a sold-out arena on a pay-per-view, won the championship belt again, and then has her wedding bruise-free, totally fine, and she's all in shape and everything. She had a big weight cut, so she's going to look good in her wedding dress. Man, enjoy your time, Carla Esparza. Wow, and new again.
I assume now the next person we'll hear from is one of 2 men. It'll either be Dana White or Michael Chandler, who was probably the MVP of the entire night, because he was in big trouble in that first round, and then KO of the year of Tony Ferguson. That was a nasty front kick. I mean,
who saw the front kick knockout?
Nobody, not even Chandler saw it.
Yeah.
He couldn't believe it either.
I never even trained that.
There is a photo that is on Twitter of the
Frankie Edgar face. Yeah.
The Frankie Edgar face. Oh, it's so brutal. Chandler gets the win, and then he cuts that incredible promo afterwards. I mean, just unbelievable stuff. Calls out the winner of the fight, and then he calls out Conor for a fight at 170. And 2 people called out Conor. Chandler called him out, and Oliveira called him out. Conor doesn't seem really into the Oliveira call out because he doesn't want to cut to 155 because he's 230 right now. But Chandler did very wisely mentioned, I'll go up to 170 and fight you. And that got Conor McGregor's attention. So good on Chandler. A++++ night for Michael Chandler tonight.
She's still in my tweets. That's what I said. A+++++. I was so impressed with Michael Chandler. And what was your prediction coming into that fight as far as how did you think Ferguson Chandler was going to
go? Again, as I said before we hit record, I had a lot of picks with my heart. I invoked the chaos clause So I picked Tony Ferguson with a come from behind late submission win.
Not a bad pick.
Just kind of an out of nowhere thing. And
That's
Ferguson was very close to winning that fight in the first round.
Yeah.
He performed great in that first round.
and he looked good. And he looked good from the bottom too. I mean, he took a good elbow, but he like, when Chandler was on top, was a ground and pound. I was like, when Tony was on his back and looking dangerous. It's like that's the old Tony I remember. You know, that always moving side to side, hips moving, just still dangerous. Like Chandler had to be just so like aware of everything. Yeah, man, freaking
unbelievable knockout. What a performance from Michael Chandler. Big fight is heading his way. Do you think there's?
Oh, sorry.
What would you give his chances of getting the Charles Oliveira fight if they run that? It's a very recent fight, but it was also one of the best fights of the year last year. What are the chances that Chandler gets that fight?
Very good. I mean, well, what's up with Makhachev? Is Makhachev fight is he guaranteed a shot, or is he doing Dariush? I mean, I know nothing's guaranteed. I mean,
Dariush Makhachev. I mean, Dariush seems to think it's happening on that Abu Dhabi card. Maybe they pivot and do Makhachev for the title. But again,
for the vacant title,
they did that,
I just realized the vacant title. Yeah.
I mean, what a story that'd be. Oliveira Chandler for the vacant title 2 years in a row. Could you imagine that? That's wild.
That is wild.
That is wild. But Makhachev clearly has a case for it. But again, Makhachev is dominant as he has been, and it's not his fault.
Not his fault.
He does not have
the resume.
He does not have that win. He does not have that like pivotal marquee win. He's got some good wins and some very dominant performances, but he does not have like a pivotal victory. Doesn't have a top 5 win. If he fights Beneil and wins, I mean, it's
Beneil top 5, but
never argue about it.
Close enough, I guess. If Beneil's top 5,
if they gave it to him, I ain't gonna complain about it. And I would probably, I don't know. He's probably the favorite in that fight against Charles, as good as Charles has been. But I guarantee you, he would open as the favorite in that fight. He's the GOAT, maybe.
I don't think he's the GOAT, but if you feel that way, fine.
Maybe in the future. Maybe in the future. Not today, but he's getting those eBay reviews. That's right. That's right.
Would buy from again. Great seller. Man,
man.
You know, I felt very like look at the fights again. At least the Chandler fight. Like wrestling won him that fight for Chandler. It was the wrestling that won him that fight. It wasn't the kick. It was the wrestling that allowed him to come back and recover in round 1. Oh, there we go.
Oh, what's up, guys? Dana. All right. The attendance tonight was 17,232, 15th consecutive sellout. The gate was 6.13 million. We broke another arena record. The only transport tonight was Tony Ferguson. Performance of the night, Chandler and Andre, and the fight of the night was Royval and Schnell. They all won $50,000. Congrats.
Too soon on an update for Tony at this point?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about Tony. Other than that was the most vicious knockout I've ever seen.
Yeah, no doubt. Any updates on Cowboy as well? Obviously, that fight got pulled. So have you heard anything more?
No. From what I hear, he got food poisoning. Went to some taco place last night and got food poisoning. And apparently it was really bad. Like, he had really bad food poisoning. They tried to give him an IV, and it didn't work. And so we're trying to move the fight to another date.
I was going to ask, so you want to keep that matchup together?
We're going to try to. We'll see. I think Lozon wasn't too confident that the fight. He's down to do the fight, but he doesn't think that Cowboy will want to make 55 again.
Incredible main event. Obviously, as long as it lasted, back and forth. I mean, I guess it's your initial thoughts on, like I said, a great main event.
It was what I expected. It was what you expected. It was what we all expected. Two seriously bad dudes going at it, and Oliveira proved tonight, he's the best, man. He really is.
Can you give us your thoughts on this whole weight fiasco and him losing the belt and just, I guess,
It's a nightmare. I mean, it's a nightmare. We were just talking about it in the back there. What we need to do, we have this issue where guys come out and they'll start checking the scale the night before, and all the Europeans and guys from other parts of the world do kilos. So they all start fucking with the scale to look at kilos, and who knows? You know, there's so many moving parts to this beast of a machine that we run every week. And, you know, we got to have a security guard in there where the scale is now. And, you know, it's something we're going to have to do.
Is there any thoughts from you or the rest of the staff on his status as champion? Right? I mean, it's your belt. I mean, if you want to give it to him, you can give it to him, right? And that's what you said, like when it was Ally Quinto was going to fight for it, and you're like, yeah, we don't care if he beats the guy, we'll give him the belt.
Oh, listen, he's the guy. He's the guy. He didn't make weight. We have rules. He didn't make the weight. He doesn't. You know, the belt is vacant. But I think, you know, I'm sure in the minds of the media and fight fans, Oliveira is the champion. You know, but technically, he's the number one contender now. You know, he's the guy.
But clearly, whatever the next title fight is, he's on one half of it against
100%.
Okay, fair enough. Your thoughts on the co-main? Not quite the excitement level in the co-main event that we had in the main. A bit of a frustrating watch, I guess. What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it was a weird fight. You know, seemed like they didn't want to engage. You know, I think there was a total of 6 punches thrown in the first round. So that's a tough one. It happens sometimes.
Rose was just here. She said she thought she won. She wasn't sure why. I mean, did you think that it was more competitive or that Rose may have won?
I don't even know, man. I started like zoning out like halfway through it. So I don't know.
I guess last question for me is, because of the way that fight played out, would you ever look at pairing them together a third time, or do you now look at that as like, I'm not going to do that fight ever again?
I don't think anybody's clamoring for that rematch. We'll have to figure something else out. Listen, Rose is one of the best. She's always going to be there. We'll see what happens. You know, you got. Did we announce that fight yet? Did we announce
We'll just
the
say
one?
Just say it, and then we'll let you know if we did.
Whaley and Joanna. Yeah, okay. So when that fight happens, you know,
You look at that as number one.
100%.
Dana.
Yep.
Down here to your right. Obviously, being a champion comes with pay-per-view points. I don't know if you guys have discussed that, but what's Charles' status with pay-per-view points?
He gets it.
He will still get them?
Yep.
Even for his next fight as well?
That's a good question. I don't know, but we'd figure that out.
Tonight, DC got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Curious if you could just give us some thoughts on Daniel Cormier and what he's been like to work with.
Love him. Super important to the sport. Obviously, means a lot to this company. And, yeah, love him. Happy for him. And it's cool to see somebody that happy to be inducted, too. He was pretty busted up. Because we don't tell these guys when we're doing it. We just surprise them the night of. So, yeah.
What was your reaction to the Charles weight thing in real time? Like, as you're getting updates about it?
No, oh my fucking God. It's the worst thing that can happen during a, you know. So when the weigh-in's going on, Lene is texting me everybody's weight as they come in, and she hit me with all the people, and then I hit her back and I said, no Oliveira? And she's like, he's up next. So I was like, oh shit, why is he last? What's, you know, and you know, the worst thing that could possibly happen happened.
Thanks.
Dana, next to you right here. I know you called Michael Chandler's knockout like the most vicious you had seen, but what do you want next for Tony? That's now like 3-4 in a row, and he's, as you said, coming off a bad knockout loss.
Yeah, well, everybody was asking me this week leading up to this fight, is this a make or break for Tony Ferguson, if whatever? And I said, no, I mean, he's still one of the top 10 guys in the world. He looked damn good in that first round. But that was a vicious knockout. You know what I mean? I think what needs to happen now is Tony needs to take some time off after that knockout. And I don't know, you know, but it's not like, oh my God, Tony got dominated and, you know, looks like he doesn't even belong here. And Tony looked damn good right up until he got caught. And, you know, in this game, anybody can get caught with anything.
Michael Chandler also said he'd be down to fight Conor at 170. Conor said that fight could actually happen in the future, maybe not next, but what do you make of that call out?
Yeah, that's a fun one, man. I mean, who the hell wouldn't want to see that fight? Yeah, that's fun. But Conor's not ready yet, so Conor's hurt. So, you know, when Conor's 100% and can actually really start training for a fight, then we talk about what's next for Conor. But listen, who doesn't want to see Chandler versus Conor? Raise your hand. Oh, he's just messing with his camera there. I thought it was
Andre Fiala said he ran down back here, and he said he already booked a fight for Singapore in a couple of weeks, but didn't have an opponent yet.
Listen, man, you know me. I love that shit. He came back into my green room after and was like, I want to fight. He's laid out 3 dates for me that he wants to fight. Matchmakers are screaming no. I'm like, we're doing it. If he wants to do it, I'm in. I love that shit.
But no name yet? He didn't say he didn't have a name.
No.
Then do you have to have a conversation with Shogun now? I know he said he wanted 2 more fights, so I would assume next fight would be the end of it.
Yeah, I think Shogun is Shogun has 1 fight left. You know, and again, I mean, I'm glad you asked me that question. Anderson Silva. What the fuck is Anderson Silva talking about? When have any of you ever heard me talk negatively, except for the fight in Abu Dhabi, about Anderson Silva? Never. I've never talked bad about Anderson Silva. Not only that, we let the guy, fight through his contract. He lost, like 7 of his last 8 or 8 of his last 9 fights, and always treated him with, I don't know where the hell this is coming from him, that then I started trying to make it so he couldn't make money after, I said, Jake Paul's looking to fight somebody, fight Anderson Silva. That guy's out there. He's available. And he's 47 years old. What it's baffling to me. Anyway, so that, you asked me that, it's like Shogun is a legend, not just here, but in the sport, pride here. And it's not like Shogun went out there tonight and looked like, oh my God, this guy can't even compete in the sport anymore. He's got 1 more fight left on his contract. So I'll give it to him and let him make that money and go out the way he wants to.
When's the last time you actually talked to Anderson?
It's been a long time. But his son hits me up. He wants to come to fights. We absolutely. And this is his house. If he ever wants to, that came out of left field and makes absolutely no sense to me. Unless you guys have heard me say something that I don't remember saying. The only time I ever said anything negative about Anderson Silva was in Abu Dhabi after that fight.
Finally, Randy Brown said the fighters weren't allowed to walk out with flags. Is that something that's going to move forward?
Yeah.
Any specific reasons or just no flag?
You know why. You guys know why.
Hey, Dana.
Let's not even play that fucking
Dana,
game.
I think you had expressed some frustration towards Anderson when he made that comment that the UFC was more of a family back in the day when, like, he referenced Lorenzo being there and how it's been different. Do you recall that one?
No. Is that negative?
I don't know. He had said that about you, and I think you were frustrated about it.
I don't think I was frustrated.
Okay. Another question. A lot of people...
Did you hear me talk negatively about him?
No, I don't think it was particularly negative, but you thought he was kind of out of line when he made that comment, I recall.
Thought it was probably weird or something.
Yeah.
But never negative. I never said anything bad about Anderson Silva. Tell me something I said bad about Anderson Silva.
I think you're right. A lot of people kind of freaking out when they saw that war room, all the fights on the board and stuff. I know a lot of those have been confirmed. I'm sure you know what I'm going to ask. Nate Diaz versus Hamzat Chimaev. What's the deal with that?
Some of those are just placeholders. So when we go in there, we'll have placeholders in place. So none of that stuff are done deals. Those are all, some of them are just placeholders. Some of them are done and some of them aren't.
Is that a fight you want to do?
Yeah.
Is it being offered to Nate?
I don't know.
And another one was on there was Jones and Stipe. John Jones had come out over the weekend and said the UFC is playing little games and making that fight. Do you have any idea what he's referencing?
I'm sure he did. You know what? Now that would be something that I could go, oh, John. If I was John Jones, I think the same thing because it's on the board in there. But you can't. That's why we shot that podcast in there, but we didn't announce anything or say anything. That's just shit that's on the wall in there. And that fight is not happening then, no. So no games. John knows what's going on. That wasn't, that's something that people read on the wall, not something that we said is done.
And you guys put together Max Holloway and Volkanovski. That was part of the lineup that came out today. Was that always the fight that you guys wanted to do next since it was originally booked for earlier this year?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Dana. After everything that went on this weekend, Beneil Dariush and Islam Makhachev, you still want to make that fight next?
I do. But Joe Rogan just grabbed me in the hallway and told me not to.
Winner of that fight, would that be for the #1 contender spot?
Yes.
So then with everything that went down this weekend, any way Michael Chandler or any other name could be fighting Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight strap before that fight, we get the results for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the fight just happened.
Brandon Royval, #6, he got the victory, he got the performance bonus. He called for a flyweight title belt. What do you think he's got to do? He's probably at least one more fight away from that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know tonight. I don't make fights the night of the fight.
Any update on what to do for the flyweight title? Are we going to see the trilogy fight with Brandon Moreno and Figgy? The quadrilogy, rather.
Probably not. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
What's going to happen instead?
Well, I'll tell you when we announce it.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Hey, Dana, right behind over here.
Yep.
The Footprint Center was rocking all night. I think I saw 3 empty seats throughout the night. I'm pretty sure those people were in the bathroom. So what did you make of the crowd tonight?
That's always, this is the second time that this place has been incredible. The fans here are nuts. I love it.
And after Trinaldo's fight, he said that he stopped aging at 33. Are you ever surprised when he comes out, he's 43 years old, and he looks like he has a lot left in the tank? Were you surprised by his performance tonight?
Yeah, no, I wasn't surprised, but no, the guy's a savage.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dana, Duncan here from Fox Sports Australia.
Hey, buddy.
Just how's it going? Just back on that Volkanovski versus Holloway trilogy fight. How important is that to Volk's legacy, considering that there was so many question marks over the decision win last time?
I don't know if there's any question marks about him now. I mean, that guy, after his last performance, he looked unbelievable, unstoppable. And, it's one of those things as you continue to win and you continue to feel comfortable in there and you continue to feel like this is your house, you only get better. And it's going to be interesting to see this fight. This is the fight that needs to happen. I think everybody wants to see it. It's arguably his toughest test he's had in all of his defenses since he's been champ, and it could be the defining moment in his career where it's like, let's not discuss this again. Let's never have this conversation again.
He wants 3 fights this year. How likely is that to happen?
Very likely. If he wants 3, we'll definitely get him 3.
And he's indicated he wants to move up to lightweight at some stage. Who could we see him fight in lightweight? Because I don't know. He's right up there in the pound for pound rankings.
If he continues to win and dominate that division, and he wants to move up to that division, he could take on the champion
straight away.
Sure, champion versus champion.
Yeah, because it's a pretty stacked division.
Yeah, it's a nasty division.
And just one final one on International Fight Week. Israel Adesanya, one of the biggest superstars in the sport. Just your thoughts on that fight with Cannonier?
Yeah, he's another guy. That's what I love about Israel. He always wants to fight. This guy wants to fight all the time. He wants to stay busy. And, he's another guy that's been cleaning out that division. So Cannonier's the next guy.
Dana, this one for you right here. To your right.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Chandler says that he's Dana White's favorite fighter. Can you confirm or deny this? Michael Chandler?
Michael Chandler. I like Michael Chandler. Yeah. The Dana White privilege thing is ridiculous. Tonight had nothing to do with Dana White privilege. I had nothing to do with what happened in there tonight. I saw somebody sent me this fucking stupid article that some moron wrote last week about Dana White privilege and that, basically bitching about fighter pay. And then Connor came out with a statement about Tony. And then this guy said, this guy embodies Dana White privilege, whatever the fuck that even means. It's the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard in my life. So you're bitching about fighter pay. Yet a guy like Conor McGregor, who's built himself up, sold millions of pay-per-views and become a star, has Dana White privilege. Fucking one of the dumbest things I've ever read in my life. It's unfortunate that that's just the type of fucking guys that write stories in this sport. But anyway.
Awesome event.
I hope I answered your question.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Mauricio Shogun, he has just one more fight, right, in UFC.
Yes.
What kind of opponent do you have in mind for him for his last fight?
Sir, I love you. The guy just fucking fought 2 hours ago. I have no idea who he's going to fight when he fights again.
Sure, fair enough. What for you? What makes more sense? Conor fighting Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, Kamaru Usman, since everybody's calling him out.
Yeah, I mean, he's the biggest superstar in the sport. So, everybody's going to call him out. I think that, first of all, talking about Conor he's not ready. When Conor's 100% healthy, you look at what the leg, like I'll give you an example. You guys, for the last however many months, want to talk to me about Conor. I would have never said Chandler. in a million years. And then tonight happened the way that it happened. And Chandler says, hey, Conor, let's fight. And Conor's like, yeah, you know what? I actually would like to fight you. I think it would be an exciting fight. So by the time Conor is ready to actually compete, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what the landscape's going to be? But I promise you, we'll make a good one.
And Dana, right back over here again.
Yeah.
If you were for some reason to listen to your friend Joe's advice and make Makhachev versus Oliveira, is there a potential for a Dariush Chandler matchup? I haven't heard many people speak about that. Is there? Would that matchup interest you?
I don't know, brother. I don't know. You know, when I get up here after a fight like tonight, I'm not even thinking about that stuff. Tuesday, we will get back into the war room. We'll put some shit on the board that might happen. We'll put some shit on the board that will happen, and we'll figure it out. I don't know tonight, but you know, I'll give you this. I'll be honest with you. You know, I get it. Listen, who doesn't think Dariush and fucking Islam is a great fight? I mean, it's a fucking killer fight. I would love to see that fight to see who the number one contender is. But I'm not going to lie. After tonight, I don't mind. You know, I'm like, I wouldn't mind doing Islam versus, you know, Oliveira either. So we'll see what happens. We'll get in the war room and argue about it and figure it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana, do you have any updates on when you are planning on going to Salt Lake City?
Yeah. Did we announce that? Soon, my friend. Soon. We are definitely coming to Salt Lake City, and it'll be soon. Good? Have a good.
Just one more. Since we're talking about all the lightweights, I asked you this in Jacksonville. Dustin Poirier is really wanting to fight. Any update on a potential fight for him?
No, not yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
There he is. Dana White. Getting it done.
Yeah.
Who are the bonuses? I remember
it went
fight of the
to,
night.
I had slight disagreement with it, but what was it? I just had it. I lost it.
Rival Chanel had fight of the night.
Yeah, Rival Chanel, and then Chandler and
oh, that's obvious.
Chandler and Piajo.
Yeah, I got one right. Yeah.
I don't think there should have been a fight of the night. I think it should have just gone to Bren Royval, and then another performance should have gone to Lupi with an amazing should have been 30-25 victory tonight.
Yeah, there's no way she was getting one, unfortunately.
It's so dumb.
If she got that finish really in the second, she had a chance, but
it's so dumb. It's really tough. It was just a crazy good performance. It was like a breakout performance, but whatever. Yeah, it's supposed to be performance, not finish.
Listen, I'm a giant Lupi fan. I've been following Lupi since she was like an 0-1 pro. I know Lupi very well. I've interviewed her about 50,000 times.
Yeah,
but
that performance was amazing.
It was an amazing performance.
That was amazing. Like, she 10-8'd her the final 2 rounds, maybe even all 3 rounds. Hey,
and there he is, the bonus winner. Dana
Mike,
White's
obviously,
favorite.
everybody was indeed entertained, but just
that's right. I guess it's my thing now.
Just talk to me. I mean, listen. I mean, Tony looked, I think, better than anybody thought he might. So, how did you think that first round was going? And did you feel like you were getting tested maybe than you thought you were going to be early on?
1,000%. And I think that's once again why I always go back to why we love the sport of mixed martial arts. I mean, was I supposed to beat Tony? Absolutely. Was I supposed to steamroll him in a lot of people's eyes? Absolutely. Was I a big favorite? Absolutely. But anything can happen in 4-ounce gloves while your heart's beating through the roof and you're in a packed arena here in Phoenix. And Tony is who we thought he was: awkward, rangy, unorthodox. And I made the same mistake. I came in with the right hand, pulled out, and got caught with something. So we're gonna clean that up.
Would they say maybe not a biggest surprise in the fight, but you just feel like maybe it was your own execution, or was there something that he did that you were like, oh, we were not expecting that at all?
I think y'all have said, hey, is it your goal to fight tooth and nail and be in these big wars? And obviously, I got a wife and 2 kids at home. I want to be the champion. I don't want to just entertain the fans. So I think I wanted to have a little bit of a feeling out process. And obviously I got hit, but was trying to get my feet underneath me, honestly, with just finally standing in front of Tony, who I knew was going to be somewhat of a test when it came to how awkward he was, and he's skilled, and it was going to be really hard to get out there. I was hitting him with some pretty decent ground and pound as well, So, dude's a tough dude.
The kick is one of the greatest knockouts we've ever seen. Anything you drilled, anything you thought might be there, or just something you saw in the moment? What happened?
I don't even know if I saw in the moment. I think my body just moved and foot to face and just a couple backflips. No, honestly, like I was talking to some people. I think sometimes the fights materialize exactly how you want them to. Sometimes you stay within your normal box of what you always use and it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. And sometimes you throw something that you never, ever thought you would ever land, let alone knock someone out with. So it's not something that we train. I think I have the best kickboxing coach on the planet, Henry Hooft. But we don't train a lot of front kicks. I will tell you that. And mainly the reason is because I told Henry, I don't want to do that, man. It hurts my toes. So my right foot is a little bit sore. And I'm a big baby when it comes to my feet getting hit. So didn't train it, but it landed tonight.
At the time you cut the epic promo, you hadn't had a chance to see the main event. Now that you did see the main event and how it played out, I guess give us your thoughts on what you saw there. And does that, kind of change which way you want to go more, 170 title fight, etc.
Man, shame on all of us for ever doubting Charles Oliveira. Gaethje had him hurt. Oliveira had Gaethje hurt. And when you get on the ground with Charles Oliveira, he's going to submit you, except for me. I was able to get out of it. But I think, man, there's something, is there not something satisfying about watching Charles Oliveira blossom into who he is? I loved Justin Gaethje's kind of synopsis of him that, back when he was unreliable and missing weight, which obviously this, that was before this, but he was unreliable. He had a spotty record. He couldn't be relied upon to have string together good performances. He was a boy back then, and now he has become the man that is Charles Oliveira, the champion that is Charles Oliveira. I lost to him, but I think we have unfinished business. I got into this sport to become the champion. I got into the sport to wear 12 pounds of leather and gold around my waist, and I would love for it to say the UFC on it. So that fight with Conor, obviously, I'm serious about it. I don't think you're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody who doesn't think I'm one of the most exciting guys on the planet now. And I think I've proven that numerous times now. Conor needs a big fight to put butts in seats, to sell pay-per-views. And, a fight at 170 would be a lot better than 155.
I guess last thing for me, we know you do want to take some time off. Obviously, you want to go be a father and a husband. But knowing that those are two massive possibilities for fights, is there a date on the calendar that you say, hey, I will fight by then? Or are those fights big enough that you'd end the vacation short if you had to? I mean, what's the plan?
Yeah, I would definitely the Conor fight. I would end the vacation. We'll see what happens. Listen, when Conor comes back and he's healthy, I'll be there. But once again, in typical combat sports icon that is Conor McGregor, he left his options open. He said that's definitely a fight he wants down the line. Obviously, he's tweeted, and it's a fight that he wants down the line. He's deserved and earned the right to be that. Decide when you want to fight, who you want to fight, and where you want to fight. So I'm just the guy waiting in the wings. I'm just a guy with a black eye and a sore right foot who just collected a bonus, and I'm pretty darn happy about it. I get to go home and kiss my wife and hang out with my sons.
Michael, when you saw Conor's tweet,
and my dad's laughing over there.
He's getting some of the bonus, that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
When you saw Conor's tweet, what did you think? Did you think he was sort of saying, no, not yet? Or do you think he was just sort of thinking, I'll see what it's like when I get back?
Well, number one, yeah. I mean, I think, as I said, Conor has earned the right to keep his options open. He's a combat sports icon. He's the biggest, one of the biggest sports stars on the planet, and he deserves to be able to, make his decisions when he wants to make his decisions. Do I think I'd be a great dance partner? Do I think I'd be a formidable one that won't just give him a challenge, but also put butts in seats because people know that I am electrifying when I step inside the octagon now. So typical Conor fashion, he left his options open. He deserves to do that. And once again, always nothing but respect. I've never been the guy who's come at Conor. I don't need to disrespect somebody or throw pot shots at him to want to beat him inside of a cage.
Was that a strategy that you thought, like, I think this will work better to get the fight with him?
What, to be respectful?
Be nice. Yeah.
No, I mean,
the 170 thing, for example, like that's a little twist there.
Oh, 170 was a twist. I just dislike fighting 155, and if it's not for the title, why the heck am I going to make 155? Y'all, I'm not the smallest lightweight, and I've been seeing pictures of Connor. It looks beefy, looks big, looks strong and powerful, and that's what I said. I want you at your biggest, baddest, and at your best and most dangerous. Let's do it at 170.
Do you ever sort of stop to kind of be surprised at how much you've managed to cram into a UFC career so quickly?
It sure is a feather in my cap, and it sure is cool as an athlete. My wife over here would probably say it's been a struggle, obviously, but that's just what we wanted to do. We sat down and said, this feels right. This is what we want to do. I want to go to the UFC. And when I first had that meeting with Hunter Campbell and that call with Dana White, I said I want to come in and get shot out of a cannon. I want to fight the best guys, the biggest stages, the biggest on the line, and I've come through with my end of the bargain, which is putting on great shows and now winning some fights. I'm now 500 in the UFC, so that's good. And and just be entertaining and be a good thing for the organization. Listen, man, these guys don't understand what they have. If you've never fought outside of the UFC, you have no idea what it's like to be outside the UFC, and then you come to the UFC and you get your eyes open to what the premier mixed martial arts promotion on the planet is. So we'll see what happens next.
Michael, right here. Say you don't get the title shot against Charles next, and you do get Connor. Outside of all the lightweights right now that Charles hasn't fought, who do you think has the best chance of dethroning him?
I don't know. Obviously, everyone talks about Makhachev. Makhachev's got a puzzle. He's big. He's strong. Him and Charles are similar when they're mainly grappling guys. But man, stop disrespecting Charles Oliveira's hands, guys. I mean, for him to put it on Gaethje like he did tonight. Obviously, we saw what happened with me. I mean, the guy's putting it together, man. He's kind of the champion for a reason. Obviously, it's a weird scenario going on there. So, Makhachev, I mean, Dariush is still very good. Myself. So, we'll see.
Then after you won, they showed you hop up on the cage. You were looking for your son in the crowd, and then you got him. And then they showed you whispering, and then you put him down. What did you tell him when you were up there?
I think I said, I just love you so much. I'm so proud of you. I told him he doesn't quite get it. And I told him there's going to be like 25,000 people there, and he doesn't even know what 25,000 is. But I'm like, there's going to be a lot of people there, but I am most excited that you are here. And yeah, it was I was like, where's my son? So it was great. It was a lot of pressure. I'm glad it's over, and glad I got to kiss him after.
Hi, Michael, over here. Tony Ferguson, I believe, was transported to the hospital. Is there any positive thoughts or words of encouragement you'd like to send his way?
Of course, man. This is, it's a tough sport because ideally that's what I want to do to Tony Ferguson every time. Right? Ideally, this is the game that we're in. We're in the game of separating people from consciousness, punching, kicking, knee and elbowing. But man, Tony Ferguson has been a guy that has helped build this division, the 155 lightweight division. You can't talk about it and talk about the history of the lightweight division without Tony Ferguson. And my thoughts and prayers are out with him, hoping for a speedy recovery. And I know he'll be back. He's El Kukui. He's the boogeyman. He's Tony Ferguson. He'll be back.
Iron Michael, congrats on the big victory. How does this feeling compare to the knockout at the UFC debut in Abu Dhabi over Dan Hooker?
Gosh, they're both really, really great because obviously one was the debut and this one was kind of getting back on track after two losses, obviously. I'd still have to go with the debut knockout of Dan Hooker. I was the underdog there, as I should have been because I was coming from outside the UFC. That was a special, special moment. There was a lot of pressure. Left the relative security of a previous organization in Bellator and came over, and so there was a lot of pressure going on there.
Certainly front runner for knockout of the year. How close is this? You always say see it to the top. How close is this to the top?
I think we're starting to scratch the surface, but there's got to be some big fights, and I got to get that title. The top, and I guess that's the thing too. I mean, because my message is not win or bust. My message is not gold or bust. It's not belt or bust, because everybody in here is going to fail, and you're going to hit setbacks, and you're going to hit roadblocks, and you're going to be down in the valleys. So I will be 100% happy and secure with myself and the calling on my life if I never become the champion. But obviously, I want to win that title. I want to fight for that title and fight Charles Oliveira for it, or whoever he fights next if I don't get that fight next. I don't know. The journey has been phenomenal thus far. The platform is growing. I'm living a dream. I'm fighting on borrowed time. I feel like I've been fighting on borrowed time for years now, and I appreciate all you guys covering it.
No complete certainty that Dariush and Islam are going to fight each other. So with that said, who is most deserving to fight for the title if it's not you?
If it's not me, that's hard. What's Dariush on he's on a win streak, right? I mean, that's the thing about, I don't want to beat the dead horse, but yeah, I mean, Makhachev has one win inside the top 10. That's the only criticism. And I know we keep saying, well, people are dodging him, and nobody wants to fight him, and he's got one win inside the top 10. So this is not me coming at him. This is you asking me a question and why I think Dariush might be a better candidate, honestly, because he's got more wins inside the top 10. No. So I don't know. It's a hard one, but luckily we got great promoters and they'll put together fights.
Congrats.
Thank you, brother. See you later.
You got the 20K crypto bonus.
There you go. And a crypto bonus. What a night for Michael Chandler.
And guess who won the #1 fan vote for crypto bonus?
Who?
Rose Namajunas.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, the Hall of
Hey,
Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I'm so happy right now.
It was
I can't-
better than Anderson Silva. It just wasn't as technical, but that was the greatest front kick knockout we've ever seen.
Unbelievable.
Easily the greatest front kick knockout we've ever seen.
Unbelievable. But DC, congratulations, of course, were in order for you as well. Hall of Fame, and it looked like you got pretty emotional when it was read out. So I guess can you just take us back to that moment? Like, did you instantly realize? When did you realize what was happening? What was the emotion?
So when they said let's welcome the next member, I don't know if they've. I mean, do they normally do 2 modern wing athletes or something? They don't, right? So I saw Habib, so I had no idea. I thought it was going to be Habib, and then I saw my back on the promo I did years ago, and I kind of threw my headset. Rogan looked like, what just happened? Then he looked up and saw what was going on, and he was like, oh my God, congratulations. So it was a bit of a surprise. I don't know how they kept this from me.
I was going to ask. I think a lot of people are like, he knew he's on the broadcast team. He had to know this.
No one told me anything. They let me talk about Habib going into the Hall of Fame before the show. And I was like, because Habib and I compete in everything. And I was like, well, you're in the Hall of Fame and I'm not. So congratulations, champ. And little did I know a few hours later I was going to be getting the invitation. So
now you can take that back, right? And
well, yeah, he's still undefeated, right? So it's like I don't have him yet.
I guess can you just sum up what it does mean to you? I mean, I'm sure it's still kind of processing. You weren't, ready for it, but to know Hall of Fame, you know what I mean? You can't ever take that away. What does that mean?
I always said things like heroes and champions, they fade, but your legacy stays forever. And this is a part of my legacy, right? Even when my days are gone, and my kids and my kids' kids can always take their kids to Vegas and see their dad in that Hall of Fame. Right? Like to be remembered is a truly, truly special thing. And I think with this, it's like the icing on the cake of a lifetime of things that I've been able to accomplish. It's very special.
Obviously, you'll have time to put together a speech and a lot to talk about. But I guess just as you sit here now, what is it that you want people to remember? If there's one lasting memory, one lasting thing about you as your legacy, how do you want to be remembered?
I fought hard. I was never the biggest. I was always the smallest. And I made do with what I had. Right? I wrestled my ass off. I fought with all the tools that I was blessed with, cardio and just hard work. Like if there was never anything given. I never cheated. I mean, obviously, I was outside of the whole thing where people think I touched that towel, but people still believe that, which is so stupid. I don't know how many times I have to tell you I didn't touch the towel. But outside of that, there were no drugs tied to my legacy. There was no questionable things that I did outside of people unjustly accusing me of touching the towel. It was there. Who doesn't touch a towel when it's there?
DC, just curious about your job tonight. When the co-main event is playing out, how hard is it to sort of commentate? And stuff?
Well, Rose and Carla are gonna be pissed off at us because we just had to kind of call it like it is. No one is above criticism, and that fight was to be criticized. Here's the problem, right? If you're Rose Namajunas, you go home and you are really disappointed because you kind of played chance with your championship. Because in those first 3 rounds, like, I don't know how anybody judged it. I don't know how any judge, listen, John Anik, who is literally one of the smartest people I know, goes, the very last scoring criteria is octagon control, which no one ever gets to. Tonight, that's the only way that they could have judged those first 3 rounds and given them to Carla.
Wasn't a fun experience.
It wasn't. It's just a game of chance, and I just didn't quite understand how either corner could feel confident in their advice to their athletes. It was a rough one to watch. And I think that first fight, the takedowns really froze Rose because on so many occasions she's given us tremendous performances.
Congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
DC, congrats again, champ. I wonder, has anybody special reached out to you over the last few hours since this news went public?
My son texted me immediately. My wife, my kids, they all texted me. Like, that is the thing. All my coaches, my manager, like everybody, all the people that I love the most, all the people that played a part in me doing this. Like I always said, it takes a village to build a champion. And I had a village. I mean, I lived in Bob and them's house for a year and I wrecked this car on multiple occasions. But I just kept working. And, to Coach Hav and Leandro and Bob and my manager Dwayne, like it really was like it took so many people to help me. I mean, Cassandra's sitting here and her and I fought daily in their house because I was such a mess. Like she's like, "You're eating Carl's Jr. again." So really special thanks to my nutritionist because they actually got me down to 205 every time. Like, so it really took a village.
I know in these type of moments, we're going to make you get reflective. So I wonder for you, I mean, you start late in this journey. Obviously, you had the whole Olympics and everything.
I was almost 31 years old when I started doing this thing, which is crazy.
Did you exceed your own expectations? You're a Hall of Famer.
I mean, it's the highest honor that we can ever achieve in sport, right? I didn't have this dream as a kid, so this came late. I was almost convinced to fight. And then once I started to do it, anytime I have a goal to chase, I do my damnedest to try to be the best that I can at it, whether it's fighting, now it's commentary. I want to be the best in that space. And so I worked tirelessly. And I was lucky because I had some great coaches. I had a lot of people that loved and cared about me that allowed for me to get to where I went. I mean, guys, we have 2 Hall of Famers in 1 year from the same gym. Think about the level of coaching that we got inside the walls of the American Kickboxing Academy. It's like nothing else. A lot of things had to go right for me. And they did.
Well, then last one from me.
And partners, right? Cain Velasquez, who's now faced with the worst possible situation. He carried me to heights I never thought. And in all my biggest moments, he was right next to me, right? So now as he is on this journey and in this fight that he's in, I try to support him as best I can. So every time you see him go to court or something, I will be there because he was always there for me.
Does it break your heart to see what he's going through right now?
It kills me. It absolutely kills me as a father to see what he is going through. Yeah, kills me. But I get to talk to him, which makes me one of the lucky ones. I've gotten to visit him, and I get calls from him. So I'm one of the lucky people that still get to have him in their life.
Well, then last question for me. You obviously have a lot of accolades over the 11 years you were doing this. I just wonder, what's your favorite moment? I mean, what's your proudest moment over the course of this whole journey for you?
It's easy to say becoming the double champion, right? Because that is going to be my crowning achievement. But just going through the fight and taking and rolling with the punches, right? From going down to 205 and having Rashad Evans teed up, a former champion to truly make an impact. It ends up being Patrick Cummins, the guy that was essentially called the Starbucks barista. 2 days, John Jones fails a drug test, being able to fight Anderson Silva. So just rolling with the punches and really just dealing with what I had in front of me. Like, I can't make my own route, right? I didn't choose to beat Anthony Johnson for the championship. It was the opportunity I had, and I took advantage of it. So just really being able to adjust. And I think in this career, if you can adjust, you can accomplish some truly great things. But, yeah, after all that, becoming the double champion was pretty fucking cool, too. And then doing it again in New York, winning that belt, and then them giving me 2 belts again. Like this, it was crazy. Sometimes I would literally wake up, or I'd come to these things, right? I haven't done this in years. I would come to these, and I'm just like walking up with my team, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, how the fuck did I get here? It just was that crazy.
So nice you had to do it twice. Congrats.
Thank you.
Hey, DC, over here. Congratulations. I don't know if we're supposed to stick to Hall of Fame questions, but how did it feel to get the crew back together and be with Joe Rogan and John Anik for the
That was
first time
nice.
since January?
That was nice. Being back with the guys was nice. We call the pay-per-views for a reason, right? There's a thing, there's a chemistry between John Rogan and I, and it works. And when they put us together, you didn't know if it would. And there are a lot of people that probably don't like it, but the vast majority of people enjoy the banter. They enjoy the personalities. It felt good to be sitting next to those guys because I haven't called a fight with Rogan for almost 4 months. I haven't called a fight with Anik, one in Columbus. I've done my other 2 with Brendan Fitzgerald, who is a very talented broadcaster himself, Dominic Cruz, and Paul Felder. But it's just something to the big event, having the big personalities all at that table.
And then back to the Hall of Fame. The UFC Hall of Fame, it's not like the MLB Hall of Fame. It's not like you steal a couple bases, hit a couple home runs, and you're in. It's a very select few. So when you look at those names in that Hall of Fame, what are the emotions and thoughts that come to your mind when you see all these other great guys, the legends?
I made it, right? Like, you know, you win a UFC championship, it's so difficult. I mean, people don't even comprehend how hard it is to win a UFC championship, much less win a belt, defend a belt, win all these other belts. Because every guy in there, right, is in there because they deserve it. So it is truly a pleasure to sit alongside these people, like all these people that I've looked up to for so long. And every time, like I said, I'll be called the UFC Hall of Famer. It means the world to me.
Congrats, DC. You deserve it.
Thank you.
DC.
And one quick, is there any thoughts on who's going to do the induction speech for you?
I hadn't even thought of it far in advance. I mean, I got to make sure Habib doesn't take my guy, right? We got 2 guys from the same gym getting to do it, so special.
On that similar question, who's going to be the one to close the Hall of Fame show? Who's going to go on last?
I have no idea. I got 2 belts.
I was going to say make the case why it should be
We'll
you.
be arguing about that. Dana will have to sit between Habib and I as we try to decide because we are both going to be yelling and screaming. I'm usually pretty like, whatever. You go ahead.
Maybe
But
he inducts
see.
you and you induct him.
Maybe we do that. That'll be fun.
That one's on the house.
There you go, my man. How much do I owe you? I ain't got no money. I make a lot less than I did fight.
Congrats, DC. For some of us who weren't hearing the broadcast, how would you describe that 3-minute madness between Gaethje and Oliveira?
Listen. The lightweight champion of the world has a name, and it's Charles Oliveira. And my God, how good is that dude? It's insane what he is. We sit there like flabbergasted, like, what happened? I just talked to Dana as he was leaving. I go, dude, what happened to Charles Oliveira? Like, how did he become this? Like, that's all you can ask is, like, how did he become this guy? He is legitimately one of the best fighters I have ever seen in my entire life. And we have seen dudes like Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, Khabib Nurmagomedov. So when you start calling one of the best you've ever seen in your life, that is high praise. But he gets hurt. He's also got some built-in traps, right? You hurt Charles Oliveira, you got to take a step back because if you jump on him, dude might submit you. So it was a very telling thing in the finishing sequences. Justin Gaethje hurts him, has to let him up. But Charles lays there for a few minutes, covers a little bit. Charles hurt Justin, jumped right on it, went to punch him and missed. Immediately takes his back. But if Justin goes and does that and misses, next thing you know, Charles is on his back. So he's got these built-in, like, traps that you have to avoid whenever you're trying to approach him. So it makes him very, very dangerous. Dude is like it's crazy because I can't explain it. And Carnival was happening as I was walking over here because him and his team were going nuts.
Oh, quick one for me. Congratulations. Javier Mendez just wanted me to relay a message to you and let you know he loves you. He's very proud of your very well-deserved induction.
Yeah, he's a man. I love Coach Hav, and I wish he was still there whenever it happened, because Burgoy fought early, so they probably took off, but it would have been nice to hug a person that was there the entire journey. I hugged Cassandra, but having Jav there too, like Cassandra gave me the huff and puff. But no, like Javier, like just, the hours in the gym and just the training, him, it's his gym. It was his gym. They gave us a home. Whereas her and Bob gave me a house and a home. That's his gym. And he opened his doors for me. And he's always been such a special part of my journey. I love him. All right. Thanks, guys.
I mean, that is congratulations, DC. Man who truly deserves his place, truly deserves to be enshrined in the UFC Hall of Fame. And I know some people look at the UFC Hall of Fame as kind of silly, and it's not like a real MMA Hall of Fame, but it doesn't matter what Hall of Fame you put together when it comes to the sport. DC is the first ballot guy. He's a unanimous pick, 1,000%. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Congratulations to DC.
Yeah, I just wish we knew. Does the UFC have any sort of rules as when you go to the Hall of Fame? I can never really understand that. Did DC and Khabib retire at the same time ish? I don't really
Same
remember.
year, right? When was the Stipe fight? When was the last Stipe fight? Was that 2020?
It was in the pandemic. It was pandemic era because it was in
So
the
it was
Apex.
July. Yeah, it was July or August. It was like the summer of 20. I just looked at this crap too.
Yeah, it was around the same time. Then it was within like 6 months. Because Gaethje Khabib.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah, it was close. Okay. Yeah.
It was August 2020, and then Khabib retired October 2020.
While we wait for our next guest, our next fighter, when I ever tell you when I first met DC? Ever
No.
share that story? I was actually with King Mo, and I was shooting a kind of a countdown video for King Mo, and he was fighting in. He got the weight, got the champ.
There she is, Carla Esparza. She gets it done, and she's getting married next weekend. Let's see what she has to say.
Double and new, 2 times.
All right, perfect. Carla, congratulations. I mean, I'm sure you're still kind of soaking it in and processing it all, but just give us the emotions as you sit there right now.
Oh my gosh, it really hasn't completely set in yet, but I'm just so excited and happy and can't believe after all these years that, I had the belt back. It's amazing.
Does the feeling compare to the first time, or is it? I mean, it's obviously, like you said, it's been such a long journey to get back here. Is it somehow maybe more special or more sweet to you?
It's really hard to compare the two because they are both such an amazing feeling, and I went through so much to get the belt both times. But for sure, I would definitely rank getting the belt both times as the top 2 moments in my life.
Fight wasn't necessarily the most exciting fight that we've ever seen, so I guess if there's a sour point, it might be that. But what is your take about just how the way the whole thing played out?
That's always a bummer. You always want to put on a show for the fans, so it's unfortunate to be a part of a fight like that. But I felt that I was putting the pressure on. I felt that I was coming forward. I was the aggressor. I was holding on to the center of the octagon. So at the end of the day, I did what I could, and I tried to fight my fight. But fights go like that sometimes.
I think a lot of us were pretty uncertain what the judges' scores were going to be because the rounds were so close. How did you and your team, were you scoring as you went along, and how confident were you that, okay, yes, we are banking these rounds?
In my head, I felt that, just being the aggressor and, it would look better to the judges. But in fights like that, you never know how the judges are going to view it. So, at the end of the day, I was not 100% sure what was going to happen when they call my name.
as the fight's playing out, and obviously you're both staying disciplined and sticking to your game plans, was there ever a part in the latter stages where you're like, we've just got to get crazy and get aggressive, or did you think let's stay with what we're doing?
I felt that I fought a smart game plan. I felt that if I would have gotten too wild and too reckless, I could have set myself up for, to be a highlight reel. Rose has incredible timing and placement on her strikes. She's had some awesome head kick finishes and drop people and punches. So, I didn't feel like it was a smart person to get reckless with.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever cross paths with her again, or do you think at this point, we've seen it twice now?
It's hard to say what the future holds because I never even thought that we would be fighting today. But you never know, and I'm down for whatever the UFC has in store for me.
The last thing for me, Dane always says we're not making fights right away, but he did say, hey, Zhang and Joanna rematch kind of looks like a number one contender fight to him. Does it look like a number one contender fight to you as well? And do you have any thoughts on that match?
I would say it's definitely like in the mix as the number one contender fight, that or Marina Rodriguez. I mean, obviously, we fought before, but she's been on kind of a tear since we fought a few fights ago, and she's had some dominant wins over some really great fighters. So I would definitely put her up there.
Congrats, champ, right over here. First of all, I have to ask, is that belt going to make an appearance at the wedding next week?
Oh, most definitely. I'm going to walk with this belt down the aisle as my something new. Super excited about that. Yeah.
Are you really?
I am. It's going to be wrapped around my wedding dress.
And the face isn't busted up at all.
Oh my gosh. I mean, at the end of the day, like I was going to fight the fight and whatever happens, so be it. But I can't say that I'm not happy that I didn't get busted up for the for the wedding.
As this is developing, as the fight's going on, were you finding yourself surprised almost by Rose's strategy, the hesitance to engage?
I definitely was a little bit surprised. I thought she was going to be a little bit more aggressive. I wasn't surprised necessarily at the game plan, because I had kind of watched a similar fight like with Andrade, where she kind of stayed on the outside and picked her shots. But I felt that she was a little bit more aggressive in that fight. But the takedown can definitely make people a bit weary, and I felt that she wasn't really committing much. So I've been a part of a few fights like that in the past, with people who are worried about the takedown. So, I can say I'm surprised, but not totally.
When she was in here, seemed pretty adamant that she thought she won. And so I'm just curious for your response to that or your reaction to that, maybe.
To win a fight, I feel like you have to do a lot more. You have to be more aggressive. At the end of the day, it could have been anyone's game because, let's be honest, not a lot happened. But I felt that, I was holding the center of the octagon. I felt like I was really trying to push the pace and come forward with my strikes and my takedowns. So, to really say that, hey, this was my victory, like I feel like you have to do a bit more.
Well, then last one from me. We talked about it a lot in the lead-up, but this is now the longest gap between UFC championship reigns in the history of the promotion. I just wonder what that means to you to now have that and own that and what that says about you.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, that is one of my most proud accomplishments because I think that says a lot about me, as an athlete that, it's easy. It's not easy to even get the belt ever, but to kind of maintain at the top of this very, very difficult division in the biggest promotion in the world. It's not easy. This game is tough, and to still be here almost 8 years later, winning the belt again, I'm super proud of myself.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
Carla, right here. Congrats. Did you think coming in when you guys were game planning this that you would be able to win on one judge's scorecard 4 rounds, only in this entire fight getting 2 takedowns and having 22 seconds of control?
I definitely did not expect the fight to go like that. It's not the fight that I was hoping for. I thought to get the win, I'd have to solidify more takedowns. But, I've been a part of fights like that before. As I said, like when I fought Michelle Watterson, it wasn't, I was expecting more takedowns, but she kind of stayed on the outside and not as much happened in that fight as I wanted either. But, it was kind of like a similar outcome. I feel like if you want to really get that win, you got to stay busy.
What do you think that says about your growth that you can win a fight like this when it plays out like that?
I mean, this fight was almost contended on the feet the whole time. So, I think it's like, hey, everybody, like I got striking too. If I need to pull it out the arsenal, like I have it and I can use it if need be.
And last thing from me, we talked about potentially the Joanna and Wally winner fighting. would there be something beautiful about you defending your title for the first time against Joanna again and wanting to set things differently in this title reign?
Yeah, like it would be awesome to kind of change the history. Obviously I beat Rose the first time and won the belt, and then lost it to Joanna. I feel like it would be a really big accomplishment to go in there and beat her and just kind of show what's made me stay in the top of this division, that I have changed and I have grown and evolved throughout these years.
Hey, Carla, over here. We know that when you're in the octagon, you're in a fight, especially a title fight, you're uber focused. But at any moment during the fight, did your upcoming wedding cross your mind?
It's kind of hard because during the fight, sometimes you're in a little bit of a blank stare. I was really focused on the fight, but definitely when the fight was finished, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, my face is clear. It's good. I was definitely super relieved.
Of course, makes sense. And then going into that 5th round, what are some of the things your coaches told you, and did they feel that you were winning the bout after 4?
I believe my coaches told me that I was winning, but that that she was going to come. Actually, I think they said she was going to be a little bit safe that last round. So I'm not too sure. In that last round, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I want to do more. I really want to like set it in the eyes of the judges, but it's just, I hate to say it this way, but it's like it's hard to fight someone that doesn't want to fight.
Makes sense. And then you spoke a little bit about this, but going into the announcement of the decision, were you supremely confident that you had done enough to secure the win?
I was confident that I had done enough to get the win, but when you leave it to the judges, you never know. So I was definitely like, come on, before they read the decision, and I was super stoked when they announced it.
And then lastly, some fans out there, they feel that the fight was about a tie. It was kind of a draw, and because that Rose was the champion, that she deserved to retain the belt. What are your thoughts on that?
It's unfortunate that not so much even happened in the fight, as I would have wished. So, I mean, it was definitely close, but I don't feel that Rose pushed the pace. I feel like as a champion, you really need to go after it and mark, this is my octagon, and I don't really feel that she was aggressive enough to really say like, hey, this was my win. So, at the end of the day, I got the belt, and if she wants a rematch, I'm down for that too.
Congrats, champ.
Thank you.
What are the plans for the honeymoon going to be now with that championship money coming in?
Oh my gosh. Well, I actually have the honeymoon planned already. We're going to Bora Bora for a week, and I'm so stoked on that. It's been a dream. It's been a dream of mine for a really long time. I actually, on The Ultimate Fighter, funny story, Dana White came in and was talking to us. He was like, oh, I just went to Bora Bora, and he had a video, and I was like, I'm going to go there one day, and now it's a reality.
And you said you were wearing, over here again, you said you were going to wear the belt, rock the belt down the aisle. So I'm assuming there's no position open for belt bearer instead of ring bearer.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I said it. So, and I mean, come on, like what cooler piece of, jewelry, or not even jewelry, I don't know, what a better accessory piece than can you have than this belt? So. Thank you.
All right. The now 2-time UFC strawweight champion, Carla Esparza, reacting to her victory over Rose Namajunas. I mean, what else can you say? Thought she handled herself pretty well. Fight wasn't good. She knows the fight wasn't good, but she's the champion. She's getting married tomorrow, and her face looks wedding ready. So, yeah, all in all, best case scenario for Carla Esparza.
Congratulations, Carla.
Nice job.
Oh, it's cool. Hey, I totally didn't realize that was an Invicta versus Invicta fight. These two ladies could have fought each other in Invicta, but nope. It happened twice in the UFC. That's crazy. Yeah, I remember.
So, yeah. So here is the big takeaway from this whole thing, because it seems very clear what everybody wants to see at this point for her, because it's not the rematch with Rose. If Ioana Jędrzejczyk beats Zhang Weili, that's the fight to make. We run it back, give Carla a chance to get that win back.
Mhm.
That's the fight to make. She doesn't seem all that intrigued by it. She put Marina over, which she's got to win over Marina.
Yeah.
I don't blame her for that. She put maybe a third fight with Rose in there. I don't know. She didn't seem all that thrilled about the idea of fighting Joanna again. Maybe I'm just misreading it, but listen, that was a tough loss for her.
I would say misreading just a bit because she was never really pushy about even fighting Rose. If you remember upcoming, she was like, "Yeah, I think I should fight Rose," but it wasn't like she's never been that promo person. So I'm sure it'd be better for a bank account because that fight will definitely sell much more. But I think for the UFC, Weili or Joanna will work. I'm pretty confident it won't be Rose as far as a direct rematch.
Yeah, I think Weili's gonna have to get 2 wins first.
Think so?
Maybe it's a number 1 contender fight. I think she might have to get 2 wins. I don't know.
If Weili beats Joanna, you don't think so? I think
it depends how. She's lost 2 in a row. She got colded 2 fights before.
That means nothing. I thought I had Weili beating Rose. I mean, not Rose. Rose. Sorry, I had Weili winning against Rose in the rematch. So I don't think how you lose matters. Honestly, I think if she just beats Joanna, then whatever. I mean,
listen.
And
When you have
UFC
contenders,
wants
it's a
that
tough
China
sell.
money.
When you have contenders, it's kind of a tough sell. To me, but
either way,
there's no real story here. At least with Joanna, there's a story.
Well, if
they fought before, it was a nightmare. But can you imagine, how fulfilling would that be if Carla, she gets the title back after all this, and then her very next fight, she fights Joanna and wins? That would be, her conscience would be clear forever if she won that fight. You know what I mean? That fight gave her nightmares for a long time.
I'm sure. Well, and coming into this fight, I said Rose still had nightmares from what Carla did to her, and I think I think those nightmares kind of showed up tonight for Rose a little bit. Yeah. So agree. I mean, I, obviously as a fan, I think I want to see definitely Esparza Joanna too. But I think if Weili wins too, I think from a UFC's perspective, it's just as sellable, probably even more because of the Chinese market. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, and then you got Jessica Andrade there too, which would be a fresh matchup as well.
I forgot.
And I feel, that's how I feel it plays out. If Joanna wins, I think they give her the title shot. If Joanna loses, I think they do Andrade Esparza, and then give Zhang one more fight, maybe against a Mackenzie Dern or something. If she wins that, she's next. Or do Zhang versus Marina. That's fine. That's a number 1 contender fight. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. There's options.
Yeah, there are options. There are actually good 3 or 4 options, honestly, that all work. It's just yeah.
So we'll see who's next. I don't know if maybe we'll get Justin Gaethje. I don't know, but we'll certainly hear from Charles Oliveira. That's going to be very interesting. Yeah, I'd love to hear from Gaethje though.
Yeah,
just to get his thoughts on that, the whole situation and everything. I mean, we talk about what a weird 24 hours it has been. Way more than 24 hours now, but it has been for Oliveira. It's been pretty chaotic for Justin Gaethje too. So craziness.
Man. Yeah, I think
chaos clause is invoked.
Yeah,
and here we are.
Yeah, I was just, and as we were listening to all these post-fight interviews, I just kind of had a suddenly kind of come to terms with that. Holy moly, Charles Oliveira is an elite MMA striker. Not just a guy who's good at jiu-jitsu. I think Gilbert Burns, I don't think he's obviously very good at jiu-jitsu with, very dangerous hands, but I won't call him an elite striker. But I think Charles Oliveira is actually an elite striker, MMA striker. I don't think he's winning Muay Thai or kickboxing championships or anything, but MMA-wise, when he can mix in his he doesn't really have takedowns, more of his back takes and waist locks. Just Charles Oliveira. He's a very defensively not the best striker, but offensively has a MMA striker, top of the game. And I think I really underestimated that. I think actually everyone. I think Chandler underestimated it. I think Gaethje underestimated it. It's kind of funny. I remember even Gaethje kind of not talking crap about Chandler, but he said Chandler didn't respect Oliveira's striking. That's why he got knocked out. And I think it's just kind of wild how that kind of not came back to bite him in the butt, but like he dropped Justin Gaethje, one of the toughest chins in the sport. How many rounds did it take, like Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier, to really hurt Gaethje? So it's just yeah.
And he stung Gaethje with like one of the first punches he threw.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot the first 10. I didn't really watch the fight. Actually, it was one round, but in the first 10 seconds of that fight, I was like, whoa.
We have breaking news.
Ooh boy.
Breaking news.
Wait,
let's get the music here. It's per our own Jose Youngs, who just informed us at our Slack channel, a CT scan for Tony Ferguson after a knockout loss to Michael Chandler came back negative, and Tony Ferguson has been released from the hospital. So, good news on the Tony Ferguson front. He's okay, and he's out of the hospital. I'm sure he's dejected. And knowing Tony Ferguson, I'm sure we will hear from him in some capacity on social media sooner rather than later. So good news, out of the hospital. CT scan came back negative. Good news.
What a wild feeling has, maybe for the fight. I mean, I'm sure it's even crazier for the actual fighter, but like as a fan, when you see these fighters with these kind of unbelievable chins get colded, like just to see, it was weird to see Tony Ferguson just out cold. Like, not like rocked, and the ref is like, all right, you've had enough, Tony. I think that's what we kind of all expected. If Tony loses by strikes, it'll be like the Justin Gaethje fight, but like one shot.
It'd be a mercy stoppage.
I mean, mercy stoppage. Like, all right, you've had enough. You're not coming back. Yeah. This is, I never saw a one-shot knockout on Tony Ferguson. That even like crossed my mind. And
yeah,
especially
incredible.
A kick from Chandler. I don't even recall Chandler throwing kicks that were above the waist, to be honest. Like, he's
I've never
leg
seen him
kicks.
throw a kick like that.
Yeah, especially like head kicks or anything. Like maybe a couple of body kicks or to the legs, but as far as straight up to the head, whew, I don't think Tony. That's one of those things. Probably Tony. They didn't even train for that at all. Like the thought of Chandler throwing any sort of kick to the head, that is wild. Man, this sport. You watch 10,000 fights and something you never thought of is going to happen. Of course, it's insane.
Quick programming note.
Yes.
We will have a post-fight show after this.
Of course.
And AK and I will be live on the same channel tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern for a live edition of On to the Next One to do some matchmaking with all of you. Let me ask you this, Casey. I was going to call you AK.
Sorry.
Right now, I'm looking at we're kind of pulling back the curtain here, but I feel we can do this. You and I are friends, and I can reveal these things. In your current men's pound for pound rankings, you have Charles Oliveira at number 7. How far does he move up after this win tonight? He has to move up. Because right now you have Usman, Adesanya, Volkanovski, Pitbull, Holloway, and Jan above him. How far does he jump from 7?
Who do I have in front of him? I'm sorry.
You have Piotr Jan at 6, Max Holloway at 5, Patricio Pitbull at 4, Volkanovski at 3, Adesanya at 2, Usman at 1.
Probably put him over Jan then.
But not above Holloway, not above Pitbull?
No, just one spot. He does get beat up. He does. The thing about Chucky Olives, he in my pound for pound rankings. Oh, I don't want to get into this. My pound for pound rankings. It's a lot about dominance. And while Chucky Olives has looked amazing and won those fights with unbelievable heart and just MMA skills, although he does finish, he does take a bit of a beating, and that's his own. I mean, his pound for pound. Like, I honestly I don't really care too much about pound for pound. It's more water cooler talk. Yeah, but 1 or 2 spots. But you know what? To me, honestly, it's the next fight that's gonna be the big one for Chucky in terms of if he fights Islam. Rather, it's to me, it's like that's kind of the Habib light. we don't have a B, but we got Islam Makhachev, and like I was even joking like on Twitter, like I'm still gonna pick Islam in that fight already, because I thought he's been best for a while, but I picked Oliveira to lose against Michael Chandler. I picked him to lose against Dustin Poirier. I picked him to lose against Justin Gaethje, and I'm picking him to lose against Makhachev. So once he beats Makhachev, then he might go to number 1. Who knows?
It's interesting because maybe Joe Rogan somehow talks some sense into Dana White, but at least for this fight. But it doesn't seem like Dana's all that interested in throwing Makhachev in that fight right now. He likes the idea of doing the Makhachev Beneil Dariush fight.
Something's
which
going on.
I'm okay with.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. Go behind, like I'm okay with it. If they do that fight in October, it's a fine number 1 contender fight. Oliveira fights whoever. I mean, if they change face and Makhachev gets a shot, cool. And it'd be well deserved. But again, you saw Dana's reaction. I don't think if he thought Makhachev was the guy, he would have been like, you know what, we're gonna do Oliveira Makhachev next. And then there's already a date pretty much set in stone. So, but it seems like they want to do Makhachev Beneil, and I'm all in on that fight. I'm all in on that fight because it was interesting hearing Michael Chandler give Beneil the edge over Makhachev in that, because he was asked, if it's not you, who should it be? And he said he thinks Beneil should get it over Makhachev because Beneil has top 10 wins.
Yeah, but I think that's a bit. Who's Beneil beat top 10? Ferguson? Was it Ferguson? Was that his top 10?
There's others too. Let me pull up his latest run. I believe I don't know if that's the only one, but at the time that's still a big win against a ranked guy. Let's see what he's got. 7 wins in a row. I believe CDF was a top 10 guy when he beat him
at the time. Yeah.
And then, it's Holtzman. But he was supposed to fight Charles Oliveira in October of 2020, but Oliveira withdrew. So he knocked out Holtzman, knocked out Jakar Close, Drew Dober, submitted him. I don't know if Dober's top 10. He was definitely ranked at the time he submitted Dober.
Dober, he's maybe been top 15, maybe in the UFC.
Yeah, he was ranked.
Yeah.
He was ranked. So in my pound-for-pound rankings, I have Charles Oliveira number 5. I got Usman, Volkanovski, Ngannou, Adesanya at 4, Oliveira at 5. So I have a decision to make.
Yeah. See,
I have a decision to make.
Yeah, I don't like putting heavyweights in my top pound for pound list because I'm kind of that boxing mentality that heavyweights are almost exempt from pound for pound list. But I understand everyone kind of has slightly different criteria for their pound for pound list. But
yeah, I think Francis deserves to be up there with this run that he's been on, all the knockouts, even just beating Cyril Gane by decision, which nobody thought he would do, and he still did it on one leg. He deserves that ranking in my eyes. He was number 2, but Volkanovski.
I don't argue at all. I'll argue rankings, but I never argue pound for pound rankings. I don't.
It's stupid.
Yeah,
it's so dumb.
You know what I mean? It's just all right. It's cool.
Yeah. Little Canadian giant Icy Ice. Islam gets slept. Maybe. If he doesn't get slept, what happens? Dariush versus Islam.
Yeah.
I like that fight. I think that's the fight to make. You can make a case for either guy to fight Oliveira next. 100%.
Well, question.
But I want to see this fight.
I'm assuming we're talking a pay-per-view in Abu Dhabi, correct? That's what we're talking about?
Yeah. So looks like October 22nd. They're going back.
It just seems to make sense as far as for what the market wants out there. Islam in a championship.
As long as he's on the card, it doesn't matter.
I guess.
As long as he's fighting, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know. It just depends what's available. We're gonna get 2 title fights on that card, so
they have something else in their they have something else in their back pocket, Dana. Because if they could do Islam if they wanted to, the fact that he's poo-pooing it means they got something else in the works. Who could?
We could see Adesanya. We could see Adesanya on that card. We could see.
Who do you like next for Charles then for the vacant UFC lightweight title?
I don't know if I want to give this pick yet.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a stunner.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I hadn't decided. I hadn't decided until Dana had his press conference, and then I'm dipping my toe on one side that nobody's thinking of. But a hurdle needs to be leaped over before this can happen. But if that hurdle is leaped over, and the attempt to leap over said hurdle is going to happen in less than 2 months, I'm game. I'm game to see it.
When I talk about that,
maybe you guys could do some math and figure that out.
I'm taking Conor McGregor out of all the situation. I'm going with the assumption he's injured, he's still out, and until he's
Conor's gone. Conor has a fight now.
Conor isn't the part.
Jim Chandler, do that. I'm okay with that. Do 170. Just do a fun fight with Michael Chandler. I'm totally in on that.
No,
There's no other option.
I'm saying Conor's just like outright. I'm not even thinking of Conor at 170. I'm just thinking Conor's just out of the equation, just totally right now. Because we don't know how bad his leg is, and those things he might. I don't know how disciplined Conor is as far as taking care of that leg, make sure it heals properly too. So who knows?
Did you think it was really interesting that Chandler talked about how important it is to have that title wrapped around his waist, to have a world title that says UFC on it, and how huge that would be? But then when he was asked, which fight would you end your vacation early for, he picked Conor over the title. Listen, he's getting cheese anyways. He'll get more cheese with Conor.
You get more cheese versus. I mean, Dustin Poirier. That's the reason. That's the whole reason Chandler and Chandler Oliveira even happens, because Dustin Poirier figured I get more cheese fighting McGregor.
Close, David.
Close.
You're close, but not that. Not that. Yeah. You're on the right track, though.
I'm right now. Just I know it's like recency bias, but like I'm totally into Oliveira Chandler too. I like it.
Listen, if they do that, I'm watching the crap out of that too.
Yeah,
I'm watching it. I mean, I didn't think Michael Chandler could find his way into a title fight. I honestly didn't. I thought even with the win, but after that win and that
promo, yeah, that was knockout of the year, promo of the year. And then the fact that Michael Chandler has no problem saying UFC rules. I love the UFC. Like he is a company man, to the end. Yeah, I think there's a good chance, honestly. I don't know when exactly, but and I'm down for it. I think it's legit. What we got here?
What else we got from the peeps? While we wait the arrival of
who are we waiting for?
Somebody from the. At least Oliveira, maybe Gaethje. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Gaethje. Yeah.
We heard from Rose, so I assume we'll hear from Gaethje unless he got sent to the hospital.
Or maybe just I don't know how much he has to say, other than like I hit him and then he hit me. And it's, I mean, Rose definitely had something to say, So we'll see. I would love to hear from Gaethje, though. I hope he
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Joe Trader thinks.
UFC only has a few more fights to make money with Conor. They aren't risking it on Chandler. What are you talking about?
Not a risk. This is how you make money.
Conor could fight anybody and it makes money. What are you talking about? Conor doesn't need to fight for titles. Conor can literally fight anybody, and he's doing 1 million pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So they will make money. Don't worry about it. Maybe they do the Nate fight. Who knows? Nate doesn't seem all that interested in it, but at this point, I think Nate would literally fight anybody just to get out of the UFC.
Oh, what did you think about? Did someone ask if was Nate offered Chimaev, and Dana said, "I don't know." Is that what he said? He
said
right?
He might not know. He might not know. I don't know.
That's his literal job.
That's not his job. His job has nothing to do with making fights. He might have some say.
Those fights, he's not making.
That's a Hunter Campbell special to the nines.
But their hands are in each other's pockets. They're right there.
Yeah.
The Dana, I don't know. Well, you know what? Maybe that's how they work now. Just the plausible deniability. I don't know.
Dude,
don't know.
The whole thing's stupid.
The
whole thing is stupid. Nate should just be fighting. Give him a friggin' fight. Yeah. The Poirier fight was right there. Just make the damn fight. Let him go on his merry way. If he doesn't want to be, you have come out many times and said, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. You don't have to fight. Just the guy wants to fight. He wants to fight. Just let him friggin' fight, and then let him do what he has to do. That's it. There you go. There's my pick. Little no spoiler. But again, he's got to win the fight. He's got to win on July 2nd, which is a big if. Charles, I would love to see Oliveira versus Volkanovski. That is insane. That could be the fight for the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Honestly. Usman's there. No problem with him being there. But you can make a compelling case that if that fight gets booked, the winner of that fight could be the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now, especially if Volkanovski wins.
Yeah,
because I think you can make an argument Volkanovski's number one right now. I'm not willing to die on that hill, but you can make a case in a court of law that Volkanovski is the best fighter in the world right now, and I wouldn't argue against you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Charles versus Volk would be super fascinating, super interesting. I'd love to watch that fight. But again, Volkanovski's got something to do. He's got to fight Max Holloway for a third time. But I think if he beats Max, just look at the division right now. Just look at it. You got some interesting fights coming up, but if he goes out there and beats Max for a third time, like the big fights he can have in this division, that's it. At least for now. You got some young bucks coming up. And in like a year or two, these are some really compelling fights for him. But right now, like, what's better for Volkanovski? Volkanovski, Calvin Kattar, Volkanovski, Josh Emmett, or Volkanovski going up to 55 and fighting Charles Oliveira? Clearly, it's the latter, and he's already expressed interest in getting up there. Charles Oliveira versus Kamaru Usman. Charles at 170 if he both double lethal. I'm not ready for that yet. I'd like to see that fight too.
I think Charles is at least two more defenses.
He probably needs a few now after the weight miss, unfortunately. Yeah. But again, I don't think we'll ever see that fight because I just don't know how much more of Kamaru we're gonna get fighting in the UFC. I just don't know.
Imagine what if Max beats Volkanovski? That's just kind of, and then Max Holloway goes, you know what? I'm done at featherweight. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We'll see.
I'm already gonna tell you what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
On July 2nd, which, by the way, I hope I'm out there for that one. I really would love. I've never been to Vegas ever in my life.
What?
And never. I've been covering this sport for 6 years. I've never stepped foot in Las Vegas. Not even the airport. Never even driven through it. Nothing. So I think that would be a really fun first trip to cover this event.
I've been to Vegas so many times. I am happy never to go there again. But
if Max Holloway beats Volkanovski, you know what I'm going to say. Tetralogy, baby. Let's go. That's the official best of 5. Let's keep it going. Round 4. Volkanovski 2 wins. Holloway's on the board. You have to run that back. Let's go. I'm in.
Yeah, man.
Why are we not pushing Benny? Listen, Benny has just as compelling, if not more of a case than Islam has right now.
Benny has quite a few losses too, so that's the issue. But he's on the streak. He's on the streak though. That's what Oliveira has the losses too, but they're on streaks, and streaks are what matters.
He had the Hernandez loss, which hasn't aged very well. It's just a weird situation. That whole thing.
That's why fighters.
The Barboza loss, the flying knee. This is peak Edson in 2017. Chiesa he got strangled by in 2016. That was the weird Michael Chiesa almost pooped his pants fight, if memory serves me correctly.
I don't remember that part of it, but okay.
He said that in this interview. I remember that.
Okay.
You don't forget that. But yeah, I mean, Benny's right up there.
Yeah.
That's why I just think at this point, rather than make an argument between the two, just have them fight, and whoever wins gets it unequivocally. That's what I think, but I don't get paid to make the matches. I mean, I kind of do on Sundays, but not really. But I agree with you, Van. If they make that fight, I would watch it. Has anyone ever gone back from a fight of the year to a knockout of the year in back-to-back years?
That means
Chandler probably had the top two. Chandler probably had 2 of the top 5 best fights of the year last year, because that Oliveira fight is so good.
That was like one
those
of the
two
most
rounds were
exciting
chaos.
six minutes of fighting. That was like
Unbelievable. To a knock in his back. I mean, this
in this fight,
and then the Gaethje fight's insane.
What was that? How long was this fight tonight? Dude, that fight was only 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Holy crap! I really thought like Gaethje had lost maybe in the last 30 seconds of the round. That didn't even make it to the 4th minute. Wow. Yeah. Didn't that fight feel a lot longer in a good way? It didn't feel like. Did it feel like 3 minutes 22 seconds? That was a lot of action in 3 minutes 22 seconds.
I think it felt longer because we just watched that co-main event and we were just on this like emotional roller coaster all night long because we had, especially in the main card, we had Randy Brown, Chaos Williams, which was fun. Then we had OSP Shogun. Then we had Chandler Ferguson. Then we had Namajunas Esparza. And then we had Gaethje Oliveira.
Even before that, remember we had Blagoy Ivanov and Marcus Lima. And then
we had Norman Dumont,
and then but then right after that we had Royval Chanel. I was like, man, these guys move fast. I was sweating watching it. I was like, Blagoy Ivanov was my favorite fighter ever.
It was a weird card. It was a weird card.
It was.
The highs and the lows. This is like a pro wrestling-esque. This is like a WrestleMania-esque pay-per-view where you have Hell in the Cell, and then you have like a women's battle royal, and then you have a title fight, and then you have Johnny Knoxville, and then you have another title fight. Tony Cowboy 2, Tony versus Nate, good fights.
Tony Cowboy 2 actually isn't that crazy.
I have a better idea for Tony. You'll hear it tomorrow morning. I think you guys will all dig it. It's a great fight. It's against a fellow veteran, and it's a fight that he won't get hurt in. So there you go.
Is Tony Ferguson in that Cowboy Cerrone land now where we've kind of given up on him ever really fighting for a title? And he's still obviously a good fighter, but, that's just – we just want to see him fight and, don't necessarily need to see him fight the top guys.
I think – I don't know. The Cerrone one's a little different because he got folded by Alex Morano. And this is no disrespect to Alex Morano because he's a good fighter. But Tony's not getting destroyed in the first round by a top 30 lightweight. He's just not.
No, that was at welterweight. Morano was a welterweight.
No, I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand that.
It's a different weight class.
But even if Tony fought Alex Morano, I would favor Tony to beat Alex Morano. I could be wrong, but I would favor Tony to win that fight. Having said that, I think the title conversation, I think it's over. I think the hopes of Tony Ferguson fighting for a title, they're officially gone.
I feel that way too.
But am I at the point where like I'm going to be sad every time Tony books a fight against a killer? I mean, if they book Tony Ferguson versus Arman Tsarukyan, I'd be like, oh no, please don't do that. Please, for the love of the Lord. But if they book Tony versus Joe Lozon or somebody like that, I'd be like, all right, I'm in. That's a fine fight.
Yeah. Tony versus Joe Lozon. Those fights.
We can't. I know the knockout is so memorable. I know the knockout from Michael Chandler is so memorable, and it's going to be when they play Bob O'Reilly during UFC pay-per-views. That's going to be on there forever and ever. But we can't forget Tony Ferguson's first round because he had a damn good one. He won the first round. He dropped Michael Chandler hard, and
did he win the first round?
Sliced him open. I thought he won the first round.
Okay. I thought
he straight dropped Chandler. Chandler took him down and beat him up a little bit.
And then he was raining elbows. Ferguson was pretty hard. Yeah, it was.
Ferguson was landing stuff off of his back too. He sliced Chandler open off of his back. So I mean, he was landing down there too. I thought Ferguson clearly won the first round.
Is there scores for that? How do we find out? Actually,
I will look.
Yeah. But no, I believe I'm not. I don't really care. Otherwise, I'm just kind of curious.
I am curious now. Now you have me all frazzled. But I think that was a clear. Let's see. Beep 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 boo. Khabib not gonna.
The thing everyone's talking is Oliveira the greatest lightweight ever or whatever. it's just unfortunate for Oliveira. He has losses. He has tough fights. Khabib just outside of a close Gleason Tebow fight, just never truly lost rounds. He might have given a round away here and there, but never lost, right? Got beat up. That's why Khabib it's gonna be a long time before someone kind of has that sort of dominance.
All three judges scored the first round for Tony Ferguson.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it was such a great round Tony looked like Tony in that first round.
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right, this is, and I thought that second round, I thought Chandler was gonna, what I kind of predicted. I thought Chandler was only gonna win that fight by grinding Tony out in the ground, and I thought okay, this is what Chandler's gonna do that second round, and I didn't even see the knockout. I was like, I think I looked over for a second and looked like, what? It's it was one of those knockouts.
So
And it was like a setup. It just kind of came out of nowhere, right? It just boop, happened.
Yeah, Chandler. Yeah, even Chandler's like, I never throw that kick, but I just saw it. I saw his hands on the side, and something made me think. I was just like,
there was a line right there. There was a lane right in the middle. Yeah.
And on the slow-mo replay, I was like, man, that's a nasty knockout. But at the same token, I was like, man, Chandler's foot has to be killing him, just because the way the toes bent up. Yeah, there's no way his toe. He even said in the press conference when he got up there that.
Oh, those suck to train, because if you're pad holder, because you can only do it if someone holding. You can't really throw it in a bag, so you have to have a pad holder. And if you just throw it the wrong way, your freaking your toes get really messed up, and that's why you look any kickboxer's toenails are all messed up. So I get why they don't want to throw those in training a lot.
Yeah. Still waiting. I assume we're not going to get Justin Gaethje at this point.
Yeah, it just sounds like just waiting for Chucky.
Good old Chuck. We'll see. Anything else going on? Is there Tony's piece of chip? Clearly, I would favor Tony Ferguson to beat Joe Lozon, but I'm just making an example of the types of fights that I want to see Tony Ferguson in, veteran fights, just fun vet fights. At this point, my pick is better. I don't mind that one. That's fine. That's fine. That's okay.
That seems right. I mean, it's a fight Tony can get hurt in. That's a definitely fight Tony can get definitely hurt. When you get hurt in any fight. I mean, Joe Lozon can hurt you.
It's a fight. It's a fight he can win, though. It's a fight he can win.
I think it's a good fight for both of those fighters. Actually, I think that'll be a good fight for Dan, because it'll be a big name, but not a truly ranked fighter.
Yeah. Shout out to AK. He just messaged me in Slack, and I'm just gonna read it. AK, I don't even know if it's private. Charles Oliveira using all the post-fight press conference appearance window, just like the weigh-ins.
Should we put a clock up there?
That's hilarious. Yeah, I like Tony versus Hooker's fine. I have no. That's actually a really good one. I'm going a slightly different direction, but that's fine. If you're gonna give Tony a guy that, I think Hooker's still ranked. I think he's still ranked.
Who did he lose?
But if you're gonna give him a rank, he's probably 14 or 15.
He lost against Machev, and then before that, Chandler,
and he went down to 45. Yeah, he went down to 45. And lost to Arnold.
Yeah, that was just
Let's see. Dan Hooker is number 13. Yeah, I'm okay with
that. That's a fight that works.
I'd be fine with that. If there's any rank guy, it'd be him.
Where do you put Carla Esparza in your pound for pound rankings? Considering how small, because she is an atom weight, first of all. But I know.
Where do I have her now? Do I even have her? Yeah, I do. I have her at 10. I have Rose. I have to think about it.
Yeah.
She probably gets my top 5.
No, they go. Have they fought before? Save it for the show tomorrow. Save it for the show.
That's the one. Listen, half the people watching this right now are not waking up to watch on to the next one tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't think we have too much overlap.
We're gonna be doing post-fight show till freaking 5 in the morning, so they ain't waking up.
Oh, you You East Coast guys, you guys are heroes.
I know. And that's another reason why I want to go to Vegas. Like, I just want to experience what it's like for a UFC pay-per-view and all the stuff that comes after it to be over at midnight. Like, I would just love the feeling just to see what that's like, or 1 a.m. It's wild. I'm going to wake, like, I'm going to get 2 hours of sleep. I'm going to go to Dunkin' Donuts and get me a big-ass iced coffee, make my wife breakfast for Mother's Day, and then I'm going to host the show. And then, yeah. Oh.
There we go.
Red suit, baby. Let's go.
I was gonna say the champ is here, but
Tá faltando algo aqui,
the
não?
number one
There's
contender is
something
here.
missing here, right?
Oh boy, here we go.
Tem uma expressão aqui que você está parecendo $1 milhão. Alguém falou, você está parecendo $1 trilhão.
Well, Charles, obviously a very, very incredible win for you tonight. I mean, a quick fight, but incredibly exciting. How are you feeling after that?
Charles, obviamente uma luta muito importante, uma vitória muito importante para você, uma vitória rápida, mas uma vitória muito importante. Como é que você está se sentindo?
Feliz demais. Feliz demais, vem aumentando meu legado, mostrando que o quanto que a equipe e a gente vem trabalhando em busca de um sonho gigantesco, uma vitória, uma finalização, aumentando esse legado de finalizações minha, mostrando, né, que realmente o campeão se chama Charles Oliveira.
Just way happy. Just the fact that the work that the team puts in, that it paid off. You think that we will always work on submissions, and to see the legacy of submissions as well, continuing to keep on. It's still going, meaning that the work the team has put on really paid off, and it just goes to show that the champion has a name, as Charles Oliveira.
Can you give us an idea how difficult the last 24 hours were just for you to stay focused? I mean, with everything happening, it just seems it would be very easy to get distracted and lose focus on what you have to focus on.
Você pode dar uma ideia para a gente como é que foram as últimas 24 horas? Porque seria muito fácil com tudo que aconteceu você ficar distraído, você perder um pouco o foco. Mas como é que você manteve o foco com tudo que aconteceu?
Só olhar lá para trás. É um time gigantesco, uma equipe gigantesca de pessoas que me amam verdadeiramente. Sabem que a gente bateu o nosso peso na quinta-feira e me deixaram tranquilo. Mandaram respirar, sabendo que a gente tinha um trabalho gigantesco para fazer, que era vir aqui e vencer, aumentar esse legado, né? Só não tá aqui, mas o campeão se chama Charles Oliveira, a gente vai pregar isso o tempo inteiro. Ah, quando eu lutar de novo, eu vou defender o meu cinturão, eu sou o campeão.
All I have to do is just look out back. It's an enormous team. It's a great team that's always behind me. That's always been supportive. That always said, you're gonna keep on going. You're gonna keep working on this. We were all sure that we actually made a weight on Thursday. So that it's in our hands. We're just not going to take that away from us. And I went into the octagon today to defend my title. We're going to defend the title. I don't have to get it back. The name of the champion is Charles Oliveira. We all know that.
Fight started. Justin was very aggressive. He tagged you a couple times. Was kicking the legs. I guess, how were things playing out early on? Was it as you expect?
Luta começou bem agressiva. O Justin foi para cima de você, pegou você algumas vezes, também pegou você com os pés, também chutou. Como é que você viu esse começo de luta que foi agressivo e foi desse jeito? O que aconteceu?
Foi como eu falei, ele é um cara que anda para frente, eu também só ando para frente, sou igual um tanque de guerra, só ando para frente. Não tem o que falar, ele vai conectar golpes, eu também vou conectar, mas a pergunta é, quem queria mais? Quem quer mais? Não adianta você bater, você tem que aguentar apanhar para você bater também. Essa é a real, eu queria mais, sabe? Como eu falei, o campeão se chama Charles Oliveira, ninguém vai tirar isso, eu sou o cara iluminado.
I said this, that he's a guy who pushes forward, and I always push forward, and I knew this was going to happen. It was a matter, I'm like a war tank, I keep on moving forward. I knew that I was going to get hit, I knew that I was going to get him, but as I said a couple of times, who wants it more? And it all came down to who wanted it more. And that's not going to change. I am enlightened, and the champion is Charles Oliveira, and that wasn't going to change.
I'm sure you'd like to just go dominate the fight without getting hit, but is there something kind of sweet about being pushed, about being tested, so you continue to answer those people who say that you can't be pushed like that?
É claro que você gostaria de ganhar uma luta direto, só simplesmente metendo porrada e ganhando a luta, mas tem um valor, é uma vitória mais doce você ganhar sabendo que você tomou as pancadas, e especialmente para falar para aquelas pessoas que acham que você não consegue se recuperar das coisas e que você conseguiu fazer isso.
Isso, na realidade, a gente deixa um recado para a divisão, né? Charles Oliveira é um problema para a divisão, né? Essa é a real, eu sou um problema para essa divisão. Sou um cara centrado, iluminado, sei de onde saí, aonde cheguei, aonde quero chegar. Não, sei de onde eu saí, aonde estou e aonde eu quero chegar. Eu sou um cara iluminado.
So this is a message to the division that basically I know where I came from, I know where I am, I know where I'm going, and I'm a man who's enlightened and who's also very focused. And as a message to the division, you cannot be down, but I'm going to keep on pushing forward.
I'm sure you didn't want to have to deal with all this, but I guess the thing is, now if you go in again, you get a second belt instead of just a red ruby to put on there. Is that kind of sweet to know, like, hey, I get another belt in the house?
Claramente você não queria ter que lidar com isso, mas assim, a próxima vez que você ganhar uma luta, você vai ganhar um outro cinturão. Não deixa de ser uma outra conquista de cinturão. Isso impacta alguma coisa para você?
Nada, eu vou voltar para casa, vou descansar, vou deixar a minha equipe trabalhar, ver quem vai ser o próximo. Como eu falei, nada mudou, o campeão se chama Charles Oliveira. Como minha filha falou, o cinturão ainda está em casa, eu não fui nocauteado, eu não fui finalizado, eu não perdi por pontos. Eu só aumentei a sequência de vitórias e de finalizações. Não faz diferença. Eu não vou ir em busca do cinturão, eu estou indo apenas defender ele. Essa é real. O campeão se chama Charles Oliveira, campeão dos pesos leves, Charles do Bronx.
So, as my daughter said, I'm still the champion, so I still have the belt. It's not going to change anything. The champion's name is Charles Oliveira. I'm going to keep on going and keep on pushing and still go for it. I'm not going to defend his title. I'm going to. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get no title. I'm going to defend it, and that's pretty simple.
Last thing for me, I guess, what is most appealing to you next? I mean, would it be a Conor McGregor fight? Do you see, Michael Chandler was saying that he'd like to face you again? Maybe Islam? Is there one of those names that makes more sense to you than the other?
Próxima luta, já se falou em Islam Makhachev, já se falou em Conor McGregor, falou no Michael Chandler tentando ter uma outra chance com você. Qual que parece ser uma luta mais viável?
Olha, eu falei lá em cima na luta do Conor McGregor em dezembro, seria uma coisa muito legal, mas olha só, quando eu era o 7º do ranking, eu falei o nome desses caras o tempo inteiro e nenhum deles me deram bola. Hoje o campeão se chama Charles Oliveira, deixei eles correr atrás, minha equipe vai ver quem é um cara melhor que para me lutar, vamos fazer dinheiro, vamos fazer história.
I said upstairs that Conor McGregor would be a good fight, but when I was 7th in the rankings, I talked to all these guys, I called them all out, none of them paid attention to me. So let the matchmakers do their thing, let my team actually choose, and the name of the champion is Charles Oliveira, let them struggle to fight me.
Right over here, champ. Congrats again. I wonder, can you walk us through the last 36 hours? Because I would imagine that just the range of emotions that you have been going through and trying to bottle it up and deal with that frustration, that must have been something unlike anything I would imagine you've experienced.
Parabéns, campeão. Primeiro, eu só gostaria de entender como foram as últimas 36 horas, porque como é que você consegue colocar essas emoções, como ele mencionou, dentro de uma garrafa, você tentar engarrafar isso e ficar para dentro de você para você internalizar. Eu não consigo nem imaginar o que você passou nas últimas 36 horas.
Foi uma loucura, mas aí é a hora que a gente vê, separa os homens das crianças. Você tem que ser homem de verdade, você tem que ter um foco, né? A equipe me colocou nesse foco. O homem lá de cima falou que eu sou iluminado. Não vai fazer diferença. Eles falam que eu desisto da luta, eu mostro que não. Eles me arrumam agora o problema da balança. Vamos ver qual que é o próximo problema agora. Vamos esperar.
You're gonna keep on focus. Basically, the man upstairs told us, man, so you're in line. My team told me, you're gonna make this. It was craziness. I mean, everything that was happening was just craziness. But you just keep on pounding again, and you just keep on showing that what you got.
I would imagine there's a level of satisfaction that comes with this too. With Justin, a lot of what he was saying in the lead up is something you've heard a lot of this is a quitter. He's quit before, he'll quit again. And once again, you were hurt, you were knocked down, and once again, you persevered. I would imagine there's a level of satisfaction that goes with continually proving these guys wrong over and over again.
Tem nível de satisfação de sempre provar as pessoas erradas, que falam pra você, ele desiste, o Justin fala as coisas, e você vai lá e prova que não é assim, o que as pessoas falam, que você desiste, que você não pode fazer isso, que você não pode fazer aquilo, deve ter um nível de satisfação maior pelo fato de você provar errado.
Acho que não, na realidade, a gente não tem que ligar o que as pessoas acham, deixam de achar, a gente tem que fazer, essa é a real. Eu vim aqui para fazer história, eu vim aqui para aumentar um legado, fazer com que o nome da nossa equipe cresça cada vez mais, mostrar que realmente sou iluminado, que o homem lá de cima me escolheu. Essa é real. Eles vão falar, não vai mudar em nada, a gente vai vir aqui fazer história.
I really think we can't care about what other people say. It's just we basically going to keep working, and it's going to show that the man upstairs is said I'm the chosen one. My team is going to be right by me and working with me, and it's not going to change anything. The legacy. I'm here to make a legacy and to make history, and it's my thing is that I don't have to care about other people what they think or they say.
Well, speaking of that legacy, I mean, at this point, the resume is starting to get pretty absurd. The list of names, the list of records that you hold within the company. You're only 32 years old. You see somebody usually who would have this many records that, late 30s and towards the end of their career, you still feel like you're very much in your prime. Are you exceeding even your own expectations with this?
Falando desse legado, desse currículo, a lista está crescendo, a lista de vitórias, a lista de recordes, os nomes, as finalizações que se falaram. Você pensa, muita gente conseguiu chegar em certos pontos que você chegou numa idade um pouco mais avançada. E com a idade que você tem, você acha que você excedeu até as suas próprias expectativas?
Não, com certeza não. Sou um moleque sonhador. Minha mãe sempre me falou pra mim, não sonho em ter um Fusca, sonho em ter uma Ferrari. Quando eu entrei aqui, eu falei que eu ia fazer história. Eu era um menino no meio dos leões. Hoje eu sou um leão no meio dos leões. Né? E um leão embaçado. Essa é real. É diferenciado. Então eu vim aqui pra fazer história, eu quero fazer história, vou continuar fazendo história, vou continuar quebrando recordes, fazendo as coisas acontecer e levando o nome gigante da nossa equipe. Essa é real.
There was an internal Brazilian joke there, but we'll try. I'm gonna put you through this. First of all, I say I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamy boy. Ever since I was a little kid, my mom used to say, "Don't settle for it. You don't want a Beetle. You want a Ferrari." And I started saying that I was a boy amongst lions, and now I'm a lion amongst the other lions, and I'm a pretty tough freaking lion. Right? That's what it was said. And I'm one that you're gonna have a hard time killing. And basically, the goals were always out there, just to be a lion amongst lions.
I mean, I feel like the follow-up question to that then is, where do you feel like you stand now, historically, among all these great lightweights we have seen in this division?
A pergunta que seria melhor seguir o que você falou é onde é que você se sente em termos da categoria, como você é peso leve assim, onde você está entre os pesos leves do mundo?
O campeão. Sou o campeão da categoria. Isso não vai mudar. Essa é real.
I'm the champion. I'm the champion of the division. That's not going to change. So that's how I feel.
Do you feel like you're becoming one of the best lightweights of all time?
Você acha que você está sendo um dos melhores campeões da categoria na história?
Creio que sim. Eu venho fazendo história. Né? O mais importante é manter o pé no chão, saber de onde que eu saí, aonde que eu tô e aonde eu quero chegar, continuar trabalhando com esse time gigantesco, ser respeitoso. Mas eu acho que sim, a gente vem provando isso luta após luta. A gente ganhou um dos melhores nomes da categoria. A gente fez história.
Yeah, I do. I think we're making history. There's a legacy. I know where I came from. I know where I am. I know where I want to go. It's to continue to work this great team of mine. And I think that we're going to continue to make history, and we're going to continue to build this legacy.
Well, then last one from me. I'm just curious because a lot of people have asked this, and I think a lot of people have asked me this. Was there ever any thought yesterday during that hour you got to shave your head? I think just a lot of people have been curious about that.
Isso é uma pergunta que fizeram para ele, fizeram para outras pessoas também. Ontem, quando aconteceu o que aconteceu, você cogitou cortar o cabelo para perder peso?
Não, na realidade nem pensamos nisso. A gente estava no peso desde quinta-feira. Quinta-feira minha equipe inteira postou isso. Sabe, eu acordei sabendo que estava no peso. Todas as vezes eu bato meu peso na quinta-feira, então eu não cogitei em nenhum momento cortar cabelo ou fazer qualquer outra coisa do tipo. A gente só tinha um foco só, que era tentar bater o peso, que coisa que a balança não estava dando certo. Mas é isso, é a vida que segue, já passou já. Vamos para cima, vamos para a próxima e já foi.
No, actually, because we did everything that we could. We were pretty sure, our entire team was sure we made weight. So it just, the scale wasn't happening, but it wasn't helping. But we thought, life goes on. And we're going to put that behind, but that wasn't a consideration. We did everything within our power, and it wasn't happening, so we're just going to keep on moving to the next one.
Congrats, Jim.
Charles, right here to the left. You said it right when you come in, there's something missing. How much does it bother you right now that UFC belt isn't in front of you, that you didn't get to take the photos with it tonight and just have all those things that come with a championship night?
Quando você chegou aqui, a primeira coisa que você falou que está faltando alguma coisa aqui. Como é que você se sente de não ter o cinturão e todas aquelas coisas que acontecem quando você defende um título ou conquista um título? Tá faltando isso. Como é que você se sente?
Ele só não tá aqui, ele tá lá na minha casa. O campeão se chama Charles Oliveira.
It's just not here, but it's in my home. The champion is Charles Oliveira. That doesn't change.
And I know you said you're going to let the contenders come to you. Lots of them have called you out, Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev, etc. You're not going to pick anyone, but Do you know when you would like to fight again? What month?
Você falou que vai deixar o pessoal correr atrás de você para lutar com você, Makhachev, Conor, Michael Chandler. Já que você não sabe com quem você vai lutar exatamente, ou quem você não quer escolher, você já sabe a data de quando você gostaria de lutar?
Acho que o time é a mesma coisa que aconteceu ano passado, tá em dezembro, né? Acho que esse é o time, novembro para dezembro. Hoje aconteceu uma coisa no vestiário muito legal, a equipe inteira me abraçou ali e falou que eu tinha que ficar no meio, que eles iam tomar todas as pancadas do mundo. E isso é verdade, então deixa eles trabalharem, deixa eles verem com quem a gente vai lutar, com quem vai ganhar dinheiro, mas eu acho que o time é dezembro, acho que a luta, acho que o legal é isso, novembro para dezembro. E tem que ser no Brasil.
That's good. We basically going to do what we've done in the past, this actually recent past. So we want to find December. Just looked at the team and they corroborated. We went to find December. It went to rest a little bit and continue with that same timing. I think that's the best. And by the way, it's going to be in Brazil.
And last thing for me, I'm just curious if you happened to see Michael Chandler's knockout of Tony Ferguson tonight, and if so, what you thought of it.
Por último, você conseguiu ver o nocaute do Michael Chandler em cima do Tony Ferguson? Se você conseguiu ver, o que você achou?
Eu não consegui ver, o macaco não deixou assistir. Falou que eu tinha que focar na luta, tinha que focar na minha luta, na luta dos outros, e aí eu parei de olhar para a televisão e foquei simplesmente na minha luta.
Just before, I need to apologize. I actually forgot something before. He said that a beautiful thing happened with the team today. They actually they got around him. He was put in the middle of all of them. They actually rounded him up. They put him in and said, "We are going to take all the hits for you. You're going to be in the middle. We're going to take the hits all for you." So I just wanted to apologize. That was something I forgot. Você pode responder de novo, por favor?
Não, eu não assisti, porque o macaco mandou eu focar na minha luta e não na luta dos outros.
No, I didn't watch it because Macaco over there actually told me not to watch it, to focus on my fight, not other people's.
Hey, Charles, over here. How do you feel like your style matches up with that of Conor McGregor's? And do you feel like he's lost a step after watching his last couple bouts? And do you view him as an easy payday?
Como é que você vê o teu estilo de luta contra o Conor McGregor? Você acha que ele talvez tenha perdido um pouco o fio da meada pensando nas últimas duas lutas, e se seria pagar uma grana mesmo?
Na realidade, não tem que achar o que dele, né? Tem que achar o que eu acho. O que eu acho que eu vou vencer qualquer um desses caras em nome de Jesus. Quando é um cara duríssimo, com certeza ia me dar muito dinheiro, ia aumentar meu legado. Eu tenho uma filha para criar, nós temos uma equipe gigantesca para fazer acontecer e a gente precisa de dinheiro, então com certeza será uma luta muito boa para mim.
I don't. It doesn't matter what I think or I don't think. It's just I think that I'm gonna beat this guy if I need to fight out. I'm gonna beat this guy in the name of Jesus, and I have a daughter as well to provide for, and it'll be a great payday, great for my legacy as well, and that's what the fight would be all about.
All right, he certainly dressed like a champion. He certainly is acting like a champion and answered questions as a champion. He certainly performed as a champion. But unfortunately, he is not right now the lightweight champion of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He is the #1 contender. Who will he fight? I don't know. But we'll probably discuss that on the UFC 274 live post-fight show, which is coming up next. Not on this link. You have to click out of here and go to a whole different link, which is easily findable, very easily findable. The thumbnail that's on this one, just look for the only one that is not live or has any views yet, because that's the one we're going on. So if you want to talk more about this crazy, weird card, hop on over and we'll talk with all of you. Jed Mishu's going to be here too, so you know you're going to get some takes. So, Casey, thank you very much. We'll see you on the other side.
Wait till he finds out Michael Chandler won.
Oh my God. Maybe he'll say nice things about Michael Chandler, but we'll see you on the other side, everybody.